every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Saying if you a bad bitch, put your hands up high, hands up high, hands up high. Tell them dim the lights down right now, put me in the mood. I'm talking about dark perfume, go, go.
I recognize your fragrance, hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit, and I know your taste is a little bit, high maintenance, everybody else basic, you live life on an everyday basis, with poetic justice, poetic justice. If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? I mean, I write poems in these songs, dedicated to you, and you're in the mood for empathy, is blood in my pen, better yet with your friends and them, I really wanna know you all, I really wanna show you off. Pour up plenty of champagne, cold nights when you curse this name. You called up your girlfriends and y'all curled in that little bitty range. I heard that she wanna go and party. She wanna go and party. Nigga don't approach her with that Atari. Nigga that ain't good game, homie, sorry. They say conversation rule the nation. I can tell, but I could never right my wrongs unless I write it down for real. P.S.
so quiet, but I hear you. Say you tell me, baby. Say our time we're making up time. The times you wasn't with me waking up. Now you never said I couldn't miss you touch. I needed you, I needed you. Needed to distance myself from you. I was just alone without you. So come close, won't you? Won't you? Can I tell you something for what it's worth? We ain't having it back to I'll show you something, give you more than what we ain't having it back to I'll show you something, give you more than what we ain't having it back to it's so quiet, but I hear you. Say you tell me, baby. Say our time we're making up time. The times you wasn't with me waking up. Now you never said I couldn't miss you touch. I needed you, I needed you. Needed to distance myself from you. I was just alone without you. So come close, won't you? Can I tell you something for what it's worth? We ain't having it back to I'll show you something, give you more than what we ain't having it back to please be done. Just be nothing to me. I want you to give to me, yeah. Please be done. Just be nothing to me, yeah. I want you to give to me, yeah.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Saying if you a bad bitch, put your hands up high, hands up high, hands up high. Tell them bring the lights down right now, put me in the mood. I'm talking about dark blue, purple, go.
I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit. And I know your taste is a little bit high maintenance. Everybody else basic. You live life on an everyday basis with poetic justice. Poetic justice. If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? I mean, I write poems in these songs dedicated to you and you're in the mood for empathy. Is blood in my pen. Better yet with your friends and them. I really wanna know you all. I really wanna show you off. Fuck not, pour up plenty of champagne. Cold nights when you curse this name. You called up your girlfriends and your girl in that little bitty range. I heard that she wanna go and party. She wanna go and party. Nigga don't approach her with that Atari. Nigga that ain't good game, homie, sorry. They say conversation rule the nation. I can tell, but I could never right my wrongs unless I write it down for real. P.S. You can get it, you can get it, you can get it.
Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for a year, only go like once. Life moves fast when you do what you want. At this time, doing what I want. Hope you doing what you want. What you want?
My new bitch look like Tyler Perry, but she don't love me, she too scary. My old bitch fun like Jackie Brown. I wanna know if she too down. Will you be my leading lady? I want a contract, yeah, no maybe. In the meantime,
Decide for what I want.
just some me time.
Hope you doing what you want.
By the beach like Odell. No, my mom, my killers don't tell. Shut down my mom, cause I knew you off the shelf. Now my bitch is Chanel. Will you be my leading lady? I want a contract, get a little maybe. In the meantime,
Decide for what I want.
get some me time.
Hope you doing what you want. Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for a year, only go like like once. Life move fast and do what you want.
In the meantime,
Just stop doing what I want.
it's some me time.
Keep doing what you want.
In the meantime,
Just stop doing what I want.
it's some me time.
Keep doing what you want.
Maybe I love myself, I don't know. Leave me here, I'll fuck myself. See me in the mirror, I duck myself. Don't need much, so fuck my wealth.
I need you in the morning, but I need you now. Yeah, I know I give you what you need. I know what you like. I feel it coming. Johnny got the essence. I try to keep you, and I need some lessons. I need to give it up. I try to live, but I can't. I don't know why I got the one. Drop me out of my mind. Don't need no other body. Don't need no other body. Only you feel on my body. Only you feel on my body. You don't need no other body.
Then I need a message of mine. And I mean, if you get free up your mind, say your body talk to me nice. Say I'm my love, you didn't need for your life. Yeah, our love no be like. Say every day together, yeah, day and night. Yeah, if I leave, you go by. Yeah, if you leave, I go love me your body, baby. Love me your body, baby. As you're whining your body, baby. So crazy. Love me your body, baby. Girl, you want need me. I just wanna let you know. Oh, baby, day.
Don't need no other body. Don't need no other body. Only you feel on my body. Only you feel on my body. You don't need no other body, baby. Help me, baby. No one, no one.
Took the morning, my walking up on your loving. I just wanna get you beside me.
Give me all you need, give me all you need, give me all you, give me all you need, give me all you need, give me all.
Make I give you all you need, every touch you need. Give you all, make I give you all you need, baby. Yeah.
Don't need no other body. Don't need no other body. Only you feel on my body. Only you feel on my body. You don't need no other body.
Girl, I want you, yeah. Girl, I want you, yeah. I need your love, man. I need that, I want you, yeah. Baby, love, I love you, yeah.
Hold to the shining stars, big deal. Get a lot of hate, stay gang in the city.
Good morning, y'all. Hold on. All right, y'all. Two of me should disappear. Okay, there we go. How y'all doing? Good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's my Hey y'all. Hey Nicole. Shout out to you, girl. What's going on, girl? Long time no see. Hey Miss Margie. Hey Tanya. Hey Juicy Kim. Hey Miss Lynn. Miss B. Y'all come on in here. Good morning. Good morning. Well, afternoon. I apologize. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, y'all. Happy Tuesday. I had to let me go put this on my community roll real quick. How y'all doing? How was y'all weekend? Let's see. Let's see. Look like my Boosie. How long Boosie going to jail for, y'all? Boosie can't be going to jail. I like Boosie. Damn it, Boosie. Oh Lord, I tell you the truth. I black men, honey. Thank you, Miss Margie. Where your fast at, girl? I've been, I've been chilling. I ain't been nowhere, Miss Margie. I ain't miss. What day I miss? Sunday, and Monday. Did I miss Sunday, and Monday? Damn. I think it was Sunday, and Monday, girl. Y'all know I told y'all that Mondays, unless I just, you know, I told y'all. See, y'all don't be listening. Y'all listen, but y'all don't be want to hear it. It's the thing. Tootsie or Boosie. Boosie ass stay doing something. Yeah, but Boosie a good dude to me. Honestly, I think Boosie is a good dude. I know he's a good, well, he's a good dad. Thank you, Miss Lynn. He just, oh Lord, I don't know. I like Boosie, damn it. And I don't want him going to federal prison. Even though federal prison, honestly, if you just have to go to prison, federal prison would be the prison to go to, but still. Um, I told y'all that Mondays were gonna be my off days. Officially my off days. Because my weekends are so busy. They are so fun filled. They are so a lot that I be exhausted on Mondays. So I said that I was gonna be taking I ain't did it yet. I be taking on Monday here and there. But for the most part, I ain't even put that into effect yet. Cause I still be trying to come on here. But yeah. But that's why, and y'all know Sunday what I was doing Sunday. So I came on here Sunday though. Didn't I come on here Sunday? I came on here Sunday evening. I sure did. I think it has to do with, yeah, it's gun charges. It's gun charges, of course. That man ain't gonna stop carrying his guns or whatever. So I decided that Miss B, what the hell? Welcome everybody. If anybody wants to hit the link, come up and join in on the discussion. That y'all be exhausted me March on Mondays. You know my weekends be a lot. I be doing, I be doing a lot on the weekend. But I put the StreamYard link on the community wall for anybody that wants to hit the link and join in on the conversation. So we're gonna get started, y'all, because I'm behind. I had initially scheduled this live for like 10. Something came up. I forgot about something I had to take care of. I did it. I didn't think I was gonna be done enough in time to do this actual live on this channel, but I did get it done in time. So I'm here, but I need to get I'm probably gonna get like 3 hours maybe, if that, and then we're gonna continue tomorrow. But listen, this is what we're gonna do, y'all. This is where we at. Now I have not forgotten about the live that we're gonna do on the Nicole Johnson. The live we was gonna be talking about Nicole Johnson, which is the young lady that drove around with her niece and nephew in the car. The live is going to be about her, her sister, who is the kid's mother, and their mother. Some stuff that I found out, and I am going to get that update live. Probably going to be the weekend. No, ain't no vote, Miss. Because see, if y'all were to vote, I wouldn't have an off day. There's not going to be a vote on whether or not I'm off on Mondays. Okay, I'm just not gonna do it. But anywho, so yeah, I'm gonna do that live. It's probably gonna be the weekend, and the reason why it's probably gonna be the weekend because I want to start something today. Now, y'all know I be all over the place. I really do, because it's like I be working on something and then something else come up that I want to talk about. Then we talk about that. And then I be leaving so many projects unfinished. Like on the T channel, I got about 3 series going on, and I got to jump back into it because I'm always trying to stay, current. But as far as over here, there's a trial that actually started today. I'm gonna say that off the rip before I forget, because that's the last thing we're gonna talk about before I get off of here. But there's a trial that's going on today. Thank you, Funberry. Keep. There's a trial that's going on that starts today actually, and I want to cover the trial. But y'all know how I do. Like when I do catch a trial at the beginning, I don't like to like actually stream it in real time. Like today is day one, and I don't. We're gonna do day one. Hey, D True, be safe. Um, Today is day one, right? The trial is going on right now, so we'll cover day one tomorrow. That way, it won't be in real time. I won't be streaming it in real time, and also, I like to skip through because those trial days are long. I mean, they're long. So if I do it, the day after it's not live, it's not real time, so I'm able to skip through the lunches and skip through other stuff that we don't have to hear. So that's why I always wait till the day after to do the day before's testimony. So long story short, tomorrow we're gonna be listening in on the trial. Now let me tell you what the trial's about. So it's this lady, I want to say her name Sheila Agee. Let me go to I want all these names I gotta remember, y'all, because I'm talking about 3 different cases. Okay, Sheila Agee. See, Sheila Agee is on trial for murder. All right. Sheila Agee did not actually commit the murder, but what they're saying is she participated in. Hey, Lady Marie. Hey, Queen. She participated in the murder because, well, America voted. You can't take no days. Thank you, man. To be honest, if America would support like you, I probably would be here every day. No off days. I would be just here. Natasha in the chat. Did I miss Natasha? Oh, that's not. Oh, that's another. Hi, Natasha. Welcome to the chat. I thought that was what you call it. But yeah, if they would support like you, Miss Marge, I would be here every day, girl. Yeah, sure would. But thank you, Miss Marge. I appreciate it, girl. Listen, so Sheila Agee, she does take a lot of days off. I'm just saying, no shade. I don't take no lot of days off, the truth. That's why I know it's shade, because I don't take no lot of days off. I don't. Anywho, so Sheila Agee is the mother of a young man, and I can't remember his name. We'll get into it. But he's currently in prison for life for unaliving his child's mother. Okay, he's in. His trial was it in 2023? His trial was in 2023. He was convicted of first degree murder in the unaliving of his little girl's mother. I'm pretty sure most of y'all heard about this. It was called the STD case, because it was the case of him allegedly finding out that his baby mama had a STD, gave him an STD, and he unalived her in Home Depot. I'm sure y'all heard about it. I'm sure y'all heard about it. So he's currently in prison for life for her murder. Now, what they're claiming the mom did was she helped him execute it. All right. So she went on trial. I won't say it was either earlier this year. I will get more details as we listen, but it was either earlier this year or last year. She was on trial. There ended up being a mistrial. True, take your days off and enjoy your life. I know, Midlin. They just want to give me a hard time. I know. Thank you, Midlin. Thank you, girl. Yeah, time you remember, yeah, it was the young lady that was unalived at her job at Home Depot. It happened in part of Florida. I want to say Pensacola. It happened in a part of Florida. He drove from Alabama to Florida, right? So he unalived her at her job at Home Depot. So like I said, he went to trial. He's convicted. He's doing life. They charged his mom with, helping him, and she was on trial. And her trial ended in a mistrial. And y'all listen. And I know I'm going deep into this, even though this is the last thing we're gonna be talking about, but I'm giving y'all an overview. Her trial ended in a mistrial because one of the jurors got caught twice doing a crossword puzzle during the trial. I even got the interview with her. She's an older white lady who said, I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. Hold on a minute, y'all. Who's a YouTuber? He's supposed to be working and doing what he's doing, and he's sending me stuff. Let me see. Who's a YouTuber? Let's see. Uh, Oh, this must be this is a different case, D True. All right, I'm gonna have to say that. Let me see. D True just sent me something, y'all. I'm sorry. So yeah, the trial, Tanya, ended in a mistrial because a juror, an older white lady, she got caught actually doing the crossword puzzle, doing like testimony. Oh, it happened. Okay, D True. I'm gonna check that out. It she got caught doing the puzzle, doing testimony, and then the judge told her, you can't do that, da 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 da. What had happened was one day they was back in the jury room. I don't know if they was deliberating, I don't know what they were doing, but they were back in the jury room, and she got caught doing the puzzle again, another puzzle. So they end up declaring a mistrial. And so all those tax dollars went to waste. All that time went to waste. And now she's being retried. And the trial starts today. And I want to follow that trial because I want to know. Because, see, I want to know, how does she assist or help her son, unalive this young lady. I kept looking at it when I saw it this morning. I was like, since the son has already been in trial, I'm not going all the way back to that trial. I got to do this research because I got to know what's going on in order for us to just jump into listening to the testimony. No, she wasn't. And so I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to cover it, but for some reason I do. I want to listen to the testimony in her trial to see what happened. Okay. So, yeah, that is crazy, Nicole. Good to see you, Nicole. So, yeah. So, like I say, the trial started today. We're going to cover the first day of trial tomorrow, and we're going to cover this until it's done. In the meantime, in between time, I am going to do that live stream talking about the Johnson family. Probably do that this weekend. And then some other things I'm gonna try to cover in between while watching this trial play out. So I'm going to introduce you all to that story at the end. I gotta start with I'm going to start with, for some reason I don't know what's going on, what's in the water, what's in the air. I do know this world is a crazy place right now, and people are doing dumb shit, and people are doing all kind of vicious shit. They're saying that they already had us going that the peoples. I always say the peoples, unalive Andrew Stone. Now they saying the peoples unalive Malcolm, and all this going on. I'm watching that. What's unfolding with that, to try to see if I want to talk about that. It's just a lot. And then it's all this other stuff that's going on with the McDonald's girl. And it's just so much, y'all. One thing a motherfucker can't say if they got a crime and justice channel, is that they ain't got no content, baby. Because I'm telling you, the content gets to be overwhelming. But um, out of all the crazy stuff that's going on, we got grown adults killing their kids. We got grown adults unaliving their children. It's two cases that I want to introduce you all today. Introduce you all to today that just pretty much it's just going on. The first case is I think this guy is from Canada. Y'all make sure y'all please hit the like button. Thank you, Tanya. Y'all hit the like button. Feel free to support the channel. Hit the cash app, super chat, PayPal. This channel is monetized. So of course, let me pull up this playlist so I can get this guy's name. He's Canadian, y'all. Um, hold on. This guy's name is, and I think it's and I hope I said his name right. I think it's Luciano, and I'm sure we're gonna hear on these videos I'm about to play. Let me put my thing up before I forget. All right, so we're gonna do that first. Okay, and then we're gonna do this. But his name is Luciano Fredolin, Fratolin, Fratolin. All right, so he's a Canadian father who is accused of murdering his 9-year-old daughter Melina during a U.S. vacation. Despite previously calling her the light of his life, he allegedly lied to police about her abduction, triggering an Amber Alert in New York. But investigators later found her body in a shallow pond near Lake George and uncovered inconsistencies in his story. Fradlin, and I hope I'm saying his name right, is now facing charges of second-degree murder and hiding a corpse in New York, where he will be tried. Okay, so this guy unalived his 9-year-old daughter. I think they live in Canada, right? So they was on vacation in New York, right? So he reported her as being kidnapped or whatever. Hey, Melissa. But he had actually, according to the cops, he had unalived her. So let's listen. Um, can I get a mod too, please? Y'all know, I think all of these videos are from the Law and Crime Network. Can somebody drop the Law and Crime Network link in the chat? And I'm gonna share this video out on my community wall if y'all want to go check it out. Hopefully this visual will play. If not, of course we'll do the audio. Y'all know how I do. All right. So with that being said, let's get into it. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button, support the channel. All right, let's see. Let's listen.
Reportedly headed to
Hey, Kimaj.
new video related to a shocking crime. This dad is accused of killing his daughter. Here he is in shackles, reportedly headed to his first court appearance in New York. Video per WNYT TV. He seemed like a loving father. He called his daughter the light of his life, but now he's in jail. He is charged with her murder. This is a story that is so hard to believe. Police say this dad lied.
Suspicious white van in the area of the alleged disappearance was proven to be untrue.
We have the latest on a story that took a heartbreaking turn in what may have led this father to allegedly kill his 9-year-old daughter on vacation. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. It is hard to make sense of the story that we're talking about today. A father.
Oh, you did, Kimaj. I'm just not seeing it. Kimaj, I'm praying for you, sweetie. Y'all send up prayers for Kimaj. Kimaj, let me know in the chat if you want me to tell them what's going on. If not, we'll just ask for prayers. And then you make sure you keep me updated. Let me know in the chat and I'll let everybody know. Well, neither here or there. Y'all please send up prayers for Kimaj for me, please and thank you. Yeah, Tanya. I know, cause we watch the same things. I know that's your channel. You love it just like I love it. I already know it, girl. I like him too. I like the way he break down stuff. He get on my nerves sometimes, but he alright. His name Chris. I like him. Thank y'all. Just send up prayers for Q-Minds.
We learned a lot of shocking information today in this story. And before I get to the
Okay.
update, let
All
me
right.
introduce
So
you
we'll
to the girl who is at the
just
center
leave it
of
at
this
that.
story, the young girl.
We'll just leave it at that. Thank you, D. True. I'm gonna look it out. Go ahead and keep sending me what you got. I'm gonna look at it all when I get out. Thank y'all. I appreciate that.
Who lost 9-year-old Melina Fratolin. She lived in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and she came to the U.S. with her dad on July 11th, according to police. Here's his picture. His name is Luciano Fratolin. Police say the two of them came into the U.S. for a dad and daughter trip. They went to New York City. Luciano is reportedly the founder of an organic coffee company. Here's his bio on the company's website, and in that biography, it reads that his daughter Melina is the light of his life, and quote, she is everything. Luciano grew up in Ethiopia. The bio goes on to say, quote, his pursuits for building a more equitable and just world are deeply guided by his determination that she, his daughter, will not have to endure the same social injustices that he encountered throughout his childhood. Sledding in the snow. His social media makes this story so much more difficult to bear because of how much time it seemed that he spent with his daughter. And at least there was the appearance that he loved his daughter. This is a montage of all the places they went together. This just hits you in the heart, if you're a parent or not, when you watch all of this.
It dropped. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna try to bring it back up. If it drops again, I'm gonna undo the audio. But I be wanting y'all to see y'all know I be wanting y'all to see the visuals. Y'all, I am officially boycotting StreamYard. In this moment, I'm still on the page StreamYard, but StreamYard, I have taken my debit card information off. So when they go to get whenever my StreamYard is due, and they try to get their money, they're not gonna get it. So I'm assuming they're gonna dump me. They're gonna dump me, and I would then be I would then be on the unpaid version of StreamYard because I am not going to renew my StreamYard because I am currently maneuvering through a new streaming app that I will get it together before they drop me. But StreamYard's gonna drop Truth because Truth has dropped StreamYard. I'm not paying them another dime unless I absolutely have to, and that would mean me getting frustrated with trying to learn this new other streaming app. They blocked you, girl. I'm tired. You get what I'm saying? I'm tired. I'm tired of stream. I pay too much money to stream y'all, and them bastards they get their money. Now you wanted me to come to OBS, and OBS is one of my options, and the other one is Restream. Now, the truth, if I go to OBS, you and Matt, y'all gonna have to help me. I know Flexi knows it too. Y'all gonna have to help me. Now, y'all gonna have to help me. Don't send me out there in the water with the sharks. Is it free? It ain't even about it being free. I just want something that's gonna work, damn it. Yeah, I mean, me paying this StreamYard every month lets you know I have no issue with paying. But I'm not gonna keep paying you. It's just like I told my baby girl the other day. The girl that does Tatum's hair, y'all know Tatum got locks or whatever. So the girl that does his hair, my daughter was having hell trying to get her to give her an appointment because Tatum had to get his hair retwisted for school. And so my daughter keep calling the girl. Every time she called the girl to set an appointment, she say, "Well, call me back. I'll let you know. Call me back. I'll let you know." Now I told my daughter, I said, "Wait a minute. Now you gonna have to do something about that. You gonna have to find you somebody else. Cause see, what you not gonna do is beg and pay. If you paying, okay, you not finna beg and you not finna be going through all this trying to get an appointment when you know your baby got to start school. So we not gonna beg and pay. We not gonna do that. So you know what I'm saying? If she can't buckle down to give you an appointment or whatever, you find somebody else. Well, mom, she been doing this house since she started getting. I don't care. It's just ridiculous. I'm not gonna beg StreamYard to stop being bootleg and pay them too. I'm not doing it. I'm sick of it. They done got enough money out of me for me to be going through these issues. I'm on strike. Research it for me, D True, because I'm on strike from StreamYard. They will be dropping me here soon. They will, because I'm not paying them. And I mean it. Be like the rest of these motherfuckers with the ducks. Just saying. Damn it. Anywho, that's my rant. Let me pull the shit back. I've been having a lot of rants lately. My God, today. Truth, you all right. Tired of holding it in. Also, I give you phone line. I you whatever. You just get on the job. You know. Okay, y'all, here we go. See?
New York State Police say on Saturday, Luciano Fertolin called 911 around 10 p.m. from alongside a highway heading north near Lake George.
I know,
New
right?
York. Here is what police say he said per WRGB TV.
So the suspect's initial account is that he had pulled over in the area of exit 22 in Lake George, pulled over into a parking lot to urinate. His initial report is he steps away to a wooded area, returns to the vehicle, and at that point, his child is gone from the vehicle. He reports a suspicious white van fleeing the scene southbound. During a subsequent interview, he then reports 2 unknown males forced her into a white van. That lead was thoroughly investigated and disproven.
Police say Luciano and Molina were heading back to Canada after they spent 10 days in the U.S. on vacation, and they crossed into the U.S. legally on July 11th. Police put out an Amber Alert on Saturday night, but police say over time, they found inconsistencies in what Luciano was reportedly telling them. Danger, at least on the phone. The next day before noon, police say they searched a wooded area.
Okay, I'm gonna let it keep playing, but I'm gonna pull up the audio because it's skipping, and I want y'all to hear everything.
Ticonderoga, New
Keep listening.
York, that they believe Luciano had visited, and that is where they.
Okay, I'm gonna leave up the visual, y'all, but I am gonna do the audio because I want y'all to hear. Let's see. Let me get to the playlist on my device. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm on strike. I ain't got time. Gotta go through all this and things of that nature. I'm sorry. Stream y'all done got enough money out of me, honey. And eels. Did you do a live last night? Did you? Why didn't I? Girl, yeah, he did a live last night. You missed it, Tanya. Girl, you gotta watch the replay. You gotta watch the replay, okay? All right, so we're at the 4:46 mark.
New video related.
You know what? Actually, it's only 20 minutes. I'm gonna start because see, I don't know how much y'all missed. So I'm just gonna start it from the beginning. It's okay. All right, y'all. This is the backstory on this case right here. Okay.
New video related to a shocking crime. This dad is accused of killing his daughter. Here he is in shackles, reportedly headed to his first court.
Now, the truth, that's a lie, and my feelings are hurt because I was in that entire damn 5-hour live. I heard every bit of your shenanigans and your foolishness and shit. I got tired of looking at that man's ass, and you know I was in the bushes looking at trashy apartments and assed out people. Now I was in them damn bushes, and you know what? You know I was in the bushes. Now why you come in my chat trying to throw shade? You know what? This is what I'm talking about, people. Everybody ain't your friend. Everybody ain't your partner. Okay? Just remember that, people.
Appearance in New York, video per WNYT TV. He seemed like a loving father. He called
Nah,
his
don't
daughter
play.
the light
Don't even
of his
play.
life. But now he's in jail.
Had me in that live watching ass and shit and then gonna tell me I wasn't in the live. I'm traumatized right now. I'm traumatized from that live last night.
He is charged with her murder. This is a story that is so hard to believe. Police say this dad lied about his daughter being abducted. It triggered an Amber Alert in New York over the weekend.
Initial reports from Mr. Fratone of a suspicious white van in the area of the alleged disappearance was proven to be untrue.
We have the latest on a story that took a heartbreaking turn in what may have led this father to allegedly kill his 9-year-old daughter on vacation. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. It is hard to make sense of the story that we're talking about today. A father who took his daughter to New York for a 10-day vacation, and then police say on the last day of their vacation, he killed her. We learned a lot of shocking information today in this story. And before I get to the update, let me introduce you to the girl who is at the center of this story, the young girl who lost her life, 9-year-old Melina Fratolin. She lived in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and she came to the U.S. with her dad on July 11th, according to police. Here's his picture. His name is Luciano Fratolin. Police say the two of them came into the U.S. for a dad and daughter trip. They went to New York City, they visited Connecticut, they went to some spots in upstate New York, according to police. Luciano is reportedly the founder of an organic coffee company. Here's his bio on the company's website, and in that biography,
I'm gonna read it, y'all. I'm gonna read it. Let me see if I can see it because it's real small. Luciano currently spends as much time as he can in Montreal, Canada, with his beautiful daughter Melina. As the light of his life, she is the inspiration for, well, everything. His pursuits for building a more equitable and just world are deeply guided by his determination that she will not have to endure the same social injustices that he encountered throughout his childhood. Seeing the world through her eyes has also helped Luciano look for creative ways to reinforce and empower Melina to know, feel, and understand her own unique individual beauty and intellect, while also teaching her to celebrate those same virtues inherent in the world's diversity. On a lighter note, Melina has also taught Luciano to let go of his rigid tendencies to keep everything in perfect order. His love for Melina, his love for Melina's messy art projects and chaotic ensemble of toys supersedes his love for a meticulously spotless home. Just from that little bio right there, I think he got a little mental issue. What you mean? Where is her mama? I don't know. Maybe we'll hear. Let's see.
it reads that his daughter Melina is the light of his life, and quote, she is the inspiration for, well, everything. Luciano grew up in Ethiopia. The bio goes on to say, quote, his pursuits for building a more equitable and just world are deeply guided by his determination that she, his daughter, will not have to endure the same social injustices that he encountered throughout his childhood. His Instagram shows him taking Melina sledding in the snow. His social media makes this story
Yeah, a
so
little bit
much
upset
more
sometimes.
difficult to
Yeah.
bear because of how much time it seemed that he spent with his daughter. And at least there was the appearance that he loved his daughter. This is a montage of all the places they went together. This just hits you in the heart if you're a parent or not when you watch all of this. Here is Melina on Valentine's Day with a horse in a picture posted by her dad, and here he is giving her a big hug and a kiss on the head in what appears to be her birthday. After seeing all of that, it's really difficult to talk about the next part, but this is what police are telling us happened. New York State Police say on Saturday, Luciano Fratolin called 911 around 10 p.m. from alongside a highway heading north near Lake George, New York. Here is what police say he said per WRGB TV.
So the suspect's initial account is that he had pulled over in the area of exit 22 in Lake George, pulled over to a parking lot to urinate. His initial report is he steps away to a wooded area, returns to the vehicle, and at that point, his child is gone from the vehicle. He reports a suspicious white van fleeing the scene southbound. During a subsequent interview, he then reports two unknown males forced her into a white van. That lead was thoroughly investigated, and
I'm gonna speed it up just to be.
Police say Luciano and Melina were heading back to Canada after they spent 10 days in the U.S. on vacation, and they crossed into the U.S. legally on July 11th. Police put out an Amber Alert on Saturday night, but police say over time they found inconsistencies in what Luciano was reportedly telling them. They say around 6:30 p.m. on Saturday night, Melina called her mom to tell her that she and her dad were heading home after their trip. Police say it didn't seem that she was in duress or in danger, at least on the phone. The next day before noon, police say they searched a wooded area near Ty.
So I don't know if the mom and the dad is together, but apparently the mom is in the picture. I mean, I don't know who has like physical custody or full custody or whatever, but he just said that Melina called her mom to tell them that they will be leaving shortly to come home. So her mom is in the picture. That's just
Ticonderoga, New York, that they believe Luciano had visited, and that is where they made a terrible discovery.
on Sunday, July 20th, a search detail comprised of officers from multiple agencies conducted an organized search in the town of Ticonderoga, New York. In an area, Mr. Fratone was suspected of having visited.
okay, Tanya.
During that search detail, at approximately 10:50, members of the New York State Police Forest Rangers located Melina deceased in the shallow portion of a pond.
Police say on Sunday, Luciano was to return Melina to her mom. That's his estranged wife, who has full custody of the 9-year-old girl.
There you go, Miss. I think Miss Margie asked that question. So, a strange wife, meaning they're separated, and the mom had full custody.
Police believe that Luciano killed his daughter after she called her mom on the phone to tell her that they were heading home before he made that 911 call a few hours later and, according to police, lied about what actually happened. Again, there was no abduction. Police say they don't have an official motive for the alleged crime. Melina's cause of death has yet to be determined, but an autopsy is pending, and it was scheduled to be done today. This is new video just in of Luciano leaving jail in Ticonderoga, New York, headed to his first court appearance.
Mr. Patrolman, do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to say about these charges?
Before we get back to this episode of On the Case, I want to stop and talk about our partners at Morgan & Morgan. There is a reason they are America's largest injury law firm, and it has to do with the fact that they have more than 1,000 attorneys and they win a lot. They've recovered over $25 billion from more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months, a client in Florida received $12 million after the insurance company offered just $350,000. In Pennsylvania, a client was awarded $26 million. That is 40 times the insurer's $650,000 offer. Another client in Pennsylvania received $29 million after being offered only $500,000. So even if you don't think your case is worth millions of dollars, why not fight for what you deserve? Morgan & Morgan makes it so easy to start a claim. You can do it with just 8 easy clicks on your phone. So if you've been hurt and you need to start a claim, go to www.forthepeople.com/OTC. You can also scan this QR code on your screen or click the link below. This is his mugshot from when he was booked into the Essex County Jail this morning around 2 o'clock. And as you saw there, he didn't answer questions from reporters and just looked forward as police put him in a cruiser to take him to court. That video per WNYT-TV. According to the Albany Times-Union, which is the newspaper in upstate New York, Luciano Fratone pleaded not guilty in that first court appearance in Ticonderoga court. He's facing a charge, according to police, of second-degree murder as well as a count of hiding a corpse. And it's sick to think that those charges are related to the allegations that he allegedly killed his own daughter, the girl who he publicly spoke of so lovingly. Now, he is a Canadian citizen, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment with our expert. But New York State Police said at their news conference this morning that even though he's Canadian, even though the alleged victim, his daughter, in this case is Canadian, because he is accused of committing a crime in the United States, this is the country where he will be prosecuted. Now, although his custody situation may be a hint at a motive, again, there are so many questions, and one of them at this point is exactly what the motive was to allegedly do this. And another big question is, how could someone be so violent with seemingly no history of being violent, at least that we know of? New York State Police said this morning that Bertolin has no criminal history, including no allegations of domestic violence. Joining us now is retired FBI agent
That's
Colin Schmidt.
crazy.
It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. This story is so incredibly sad, to say the least. The call comes in Saturday night around 10 p.m. from this dad, and he gives this story of his daughter being abducted on the side of the road by two men driving a white van. They were going north. The van allegedly head south. That doesn't end up being true, according to police. If you were one of the investigators, you get this call, what red flags might stand out to you early just in responding to this?
Well, the first thing is, if they're responding to it's his demeanor. If he's demonstrating a level of calmness or a level of just suspicious behavior, these law enforcement officers, because they're dealing with people all the time, they're going to understand whether his behavior is suspicious or if he's really a distressed father.
And when you have, and I know that every single call and every, sort of allegation that comes in, you have to investigate it, you have to take it seriously. But the story of a white van coming, yanking a girl out of the side of the road, and then just driving off,
Well,
it just doesn't. It seems like a.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like they saying that from all accounts he was a good dad. He loved his daughter, spent a lot of time with his daughter. Him and his wife are estranged, which means they're separated. I guess they're going through a divorce. They're going through a custody battle. Him and the daughter was on vacation 10 days. They were on vacation, and the last day of the vacation he did this. Now they're saying that he did it after the daughter made a phone call to her mom, letting her mom know that they would be coming home. But I don't know if he snapped because the daughter called the mom. I don't know if he did not want to return. Now, unless it's something else, unless it's just something we don't know about, we'll find out about later. It's probably he didn't want to return the daughter back to the mama. That's the only thing I could see why he would unalive this beautiful. Like he didn't want to return her back to her mama. It's weird. You can go on vacation with your daughter. Oh, listen, listen. I don't know what's going on, but this case and the next one we're gonna talk about are so similar that I had to cover both of them together. They are so similar, and I'm just thinking like, damn, is this like a trend? Like, what are we doing? But let's finish listening to this, and then we're gonna get into the next case, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about.
Very sensational story. In your experience responding to these types of cases, when you hear a story that's that sensational, does that set off a red flag about whether it may not be true?
Absolutely. You're starting. It seems like everybody wants to blame somebody else, and there's always these mysterious vans and these mysterious people, and they're basically kind of.
Yeah, I'm gonna start this one. Oh, because for some reason, y'all know how you can speed it up. My thing is not speeding up. Hold on, y'all.
New video related.
Let's see. Let's go back to.
Off a red flag about whether it may not be true.
Absolutely. You're starting. It seems like everybody wants to blame somebody else, and there's always these mysterious vans and these mysterious people, and they're basically kind of embellishing some sort of story. And that was probably the first thing out of his mouth, because he was developing his alibi, so to speak, to blame it on somebody else. So as soon as the cops heard that, they're like, okay, we have a problem here. And I'm sure they started digging in to find out exactly what was going on.
And when you're interviewing someone who, they make this.
Now, mind y'all, this just happened around the weekend of this happened July 20th, which is not this weekend just passed, but the weekend before. So this just recently happened. Okay.
Incredible claim. You're trying to figure out where his daughter is, and you're trying to piece together whether or not he's telling the truth. What are some of the strategies you use in interviewing someone to try to piece together whether or not they're telling the truth?
Well, it all comes down to the details. The details matter. in prior inconsistent statements. So generally speaking, when you have an interview like this, you're going to let him go ahead and lay out his narrative, and then you're going to go back and start jumping into the details and really narrowing down or filtering down into some of the things he said. So if he has a color of a car, then you're going to ask him, okay, again, what the color of the car was, and then why he knows it was white, black, purple, or green. And then if he changes in the middle of that interview to a different color, every time there's an inconsistent statement, then you're going to narrow in and zero in on that behavior. And then eventually you'll have caught him in so many lies, so to speak, he's either going to kind of give up the information or the truth, or he's going to lawyer up.
How do you go about making sure, not just, I mean, how much do you actually investigate the claim, try and figure out where the girl is? Because it does seem it was pretty quick that detectives were able to understand there were some inconsistencies in this man's story, they say. What's the next step when it comes to trying to figure out where this girl is? Because they're in a part of upstate New York. It's a very wooded area, and you're looking for one young girl and sadly they find her body, but you're looking for one young girl in the middle of a very rural part of the state.
Well, it sounds to me that based upon how quickly they were able to identify that a crime had occurred, that likely that the people that were first, or the law enforcement officers, the detectives, the first ones to interact with him, did a phenomenal job on the interview, and they were able to find those inconsistencies, and then they were able to corroborate or defeat his alibi, so to speak, very quickly. And based upon some of the things he said, you know, if these law enforcement officers are very familiar with the area. He probably had made some statements that just didn't make any sense. They didn't match up. And then when they leaned in on him a little bit and asked him some very pointed questions, he likely gave it up, you know, because it doesn't sound like he lawyered up in the very little media details that we have. But it appears that the interview, that first interview, was what really broke this case wide open.
So he's from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and they come into the United States for, it just seemed like a dad-daughter 10-day vacation, New York City, Connecticut. But he's now in custody in Essex County, New York. How does this play out where he came into the United States, he's not a U.S. citizen? I know the state police said he's going to be tried in New York, but how does that typically play out in a case like this?
Well,
because he committed the crime in New York. He committed the crime in New York, so he got to be tried in New York.
The Canadian authorities are going to be notified. I mean, he has a right to notify the Canadian embassy, and they have a right to look into to make sure he's being treated appropriately and with respect. But he did commit a crime in the United States. Therefore, the United States or the local jurisdiction has the authority to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law. And then at that point, he'll be deported if he's found guilty of this. So it does play in that he is a Canadian citizen. There is a few diplomatic steps, but in terms of the actual crime, they're going to follow their own processes and prosecute him based upon the evidence that they find.
His estranged wife, and the real sad part of this is that this was the last day, according to police, of this vacation that he was on with his daughter, and he was bringing his daughter back, and he was supposed to bring her back to Canada, and her mom has full custody. But as far as just a little bit more of the jurisdictional part of this, what type of cooperation is there in these types of cases? Because often you think in the movies, oh, the person crosses a country line and then suddenly it's two completely different worlds. From, I think of New York State Police right along the border with Quebec, Vermont, and all of that. What type of communication typically and relationship do the Canadian authorities and the American authorities have in cases like this?
Well, from a federal perspective, they're excellent. The Canadian authorities and the American authorities work very, very closely together. And then I'm sure the New York State Police, and they're a fantastic organization. They have great relationships with the Canadian authorities, and many times they're very close friends with the Canadian authorities because the Canadians will come over to fish and hunt and hang out, and vice versa. I mean, cops generally, that's kind of have a universal language regardless of the politics that is going on in the state, in the capital, so to speak. But I'm absolutely certain that the New York State Police are getting all the cooperation that they need from the Canadian authorities and vice versa.
Luciano Fertolin is his name. He allegedly kills his daughter, leaves her in a shallow body of water, according to police, but he doesn't run. He calls and creates this story that triggers an Amber Alert. What does that tell you about how this crime potentially went down, knowing that he didn't try to flee, he tried to get out of it potentially by just making up a story?
Well, it kind of tells me, obviously we're speculating on his state of mind and what was going on, but it tells me that there wasn't a lot of higher level thinking or planning that went into this. It appears that he just had some sort of reaction to some situation that occurred. And then,
so do you think, like you say he snapped because the baby called her mom, or something else happened? I don't know. I just feel like he didn't want to. They were at the end of. See, he didn't. They was at the end of the 10-day vacation. The last day, right? So I'm thinking he just didn't want to return her to the mama, but that's just me. I mean, but he could have. I don't know.
And he thought that he could, come up with some elaborate ruse or plan, which obviously the authorities broke down his story very quickly. So it just doesn't appear that there was any long-term planning to this. I think there was a reaction to something that happened.
He, and sadly, I feel like we've seen cases like this in the past where you have someone involved in some sort of, I don't know if it's a child custody dispute, but he was going to return his daughter to his estranged wife. His estranged wife had full custody. They were on the final day of the vacation. There's no official motive at this point, but New York State Police pointed that out. But he also didn't have a history of domestic violence. He didn't have any sort of criminal background, according to police. What stands out to you when we're trying to piece together what exactly happened here? That it does, I'm not going to say it came out of the blue, but in terms of even the girl had called her mom, according to police, and it didn't seem that she was in duress around 6:30 that night before this 911 call was made hours later.
It appears that there was a reaction, like I said. So what they're going to be focusing on his communications on his phone with his ex-wife.
Hi, Natasha.
There might have been something leading up to this through the communications that really basically set him off and made him go to that final level. So it appears that there was no history of this. That doesn't necessarily mean that this has never happened, but it also really shows that there was some issue there, and that the communications between him and his wife are going to be very important.
Yeah, what type of access will authorities, like once someone goes into jail on a crime like this, now he's behind bars. I assume eventually he'll end up getting a lawyer, but if you were an investigator on this, how often can you talk to him moving forward?
Well, it kind of comes down, if he gets a lawyer, then all communications have to go to the lawyer. So that's why that first interview is so important, because before a lawyer, frankly, gets involved, although it is everybody's right to have a lawyer at any time they do interact with the authorities. But it really comes down to how much information they got from him before, including if he gave them access to his phone, and most importantly, the password or the passcode to get in that phone.
And then what can, just in your experience in working on a federal level, when it comes to these domestic cases, and I know a lot of times that's a state or city type of case, but when you have someone who, he was going to return his daughter for custody, and even though there wasn't a history of this, something was going on emotionally. What can be done to prevent these types of situations in the future? And I know that there's still a lot that we don't know, and we did learn a lot today from New York State Police, but there's a lot that we still don't know about this case.
Well, to prevent this, you're talking about, having some sort of department of pre-crime and being able to get in the minds of people. Generally speaking, their history is what's going to predict their future behavior. And in this case, he didn't have any history of domestic violence that we're aware of. So in this case, there really isn't anything that comes to mind that could have prevented this, unless the wife had known there was some sort of level of violence or some issue, and she could have reported it, or the mother, I'm sorry, but it doesn't appear that was the case here.
Yeah, it's just an incredibly sad story. We'll see how the legal part of it plays out, but a lot of questions still unanswered. Colin Schmidt, retired FBI agent. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for being with me.
All right, thank you. Take it easy.
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime.
So,
subscribe to us on YouTube.
That's it on that. Now we got one from. Now that was 2 weeks ago. That's when the story first broke. So this one, what we're about to listen to, this is 13 days ago, which is a couple of days after the story broke. The title of this one is "The Cause of Death Just Released for Girl Allegedly Killed by Dad on Vacation."
We have a breaking news,
and we're gonna listen to the. And I had to figure out. Let me go out and come back in this because it's not allowing me to speed up my thing, and I can't do that. We got to speed it up so we can get through all of this. Let's see. I thought it was stated that he unalived her to prevent her from living in the same economic state. No. Well, I mean, unless you heard that somewhere, I hadn't heard that in what we've listened to. Now, we did read that bio where he was concerned about her. We did read the bio where, they say he was concerned about that. But I don't know if they stated that's why that he unalived her. I don't know who said that. I haven't heard that. All right, let's see. Could be. Some people's state of mind be so fucked up that they really believe that what he did to her was better for her. If he had this thing going on in his mind whereas she was gonna suffer on this earth as far as injustices and prejudice and racism and all that. If he's not right up there, he could think that unaliving her would have been the best thing for her instead of coming up in this world. I don't know. I'm sure. I'm sure that these people. I don't know. But let's listen. Let's see if this one.
We have a breaking news update and a shocking.
Now let me see if I can speed it up. Let's see. It's still going back. It is not allowing. Yeah, let me restart my device. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the YouTube app that's acting up or my device, but I'm gonna restart my device. In the meantime, let me bring up the visual of this next one.
Bluetooth pairing.
Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button, support your girl. And thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it.
We have a
Well, I'll see if it'll play. Let me see if it'll play, y'all. If that's the case, he shouldn't have brought her into the world. And this baby, she was 9. She was 9 years old. Let me see. Can't be the app because it's sped up on here.
case of a dad accused of killing his daughter on the final day of their 10-day vacation before they returned home. Luciano Fertolin is now in jail in New York. Here he is walking to his first court appearance for WNYT. He seemed to live the high life, traveling the world, driving fancy cars, and life of his life. Which makes this story so hard to understand, and it raises so many questions. Why would he allegedly kill his daughter? Well, we have learned more about his background, which reportedly suggests that his reaction. Presented by Law and Crime, I'm Chris Stewart. Before we get back to this episode,
okay, it's still skipping, and I done brought my device back up. Let me see. I'm gonna go to it. Let's see.
We have a breaking news update in a shocking case of a dad accused of killing his daughter on the final day of their 10-day vacation before they returned home. Luciano Fertolin is now in jail in New York. Here he is walking to his first court appearance per WNYT. He seemed to live the high life, traveling the world, driving fancy cars, and showering his daughter, his only child, with love, who he once called the light of his life, which makes this story so hard to understand, and it raises so many questions. Why would he allegedly kill his daughter? Well, we have learned more about his background, which reportedly suggests that his reality was not as flashy as the image that he projected. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Before we get back to this episode of On the Case, I want to take a moment and bring you a Law and Crime legal alert, because did you know that children are being diagnosed with serious conditions like type 2 diabetes and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and research is...
I love this show, but the advertisement for me be over the top. Like, honestly.
potentially linking ultra-processed foods to these outcomes. Our partners at Morgan & Morgan are stepping in to fight to hold food companies accountable. They have decades of experience fighting large corporations, and they're ready to stand up for families who deserve justice. So if your child under 21 has been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, go to www.forthepeople.com/food. You can also scan this QR code on your screen or click the link below. Right before we posted this video, we learned the cause of death in this case. It is a case that is just so difficult to comprehend, and there are still so many questions. Before I get to that cause of death, let me break down some of the latest that we have in this story and how we got to this point. Luciano Fertolin has pleaded not guilty to allegedly murdering his 9-year-old daughter, Melina. Before I get to the new information that we are learning about his background, let me get you caught up on this story. Police say on July 11th, Melina and her dad started a 10-day trip for vacation, just the two of them. They both lived in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. They came in the United States to spend time in New York and Connecticut. Again, this was just a dad and daughter trip. Luciano is the founder of a coffee company based in Montreal. It appeared that Luciano was a successful entrepreneur and business person. He called Melina, quote, the light of his life. He also said Melina was, quote, inspiration for, well, everything. And it was just 15 weeks ago. That's a little more than just 3 months. Here's a video of Melina at her 9th birthday party, and this was on her dad's Instagram. And here's a picture that he posted at that 9th birthday party, giving her a big hug and a kiss on the head. Police say Saturday night, around 10 o'clock, Luciano called 911 outside of Lake George, New York. Just a few hours prior, police say that Luciano and Melina were spotted at a restaurant in nearby Saratoga Springs, New York. But Luciano in this 911 call was claiming that something had gone horribly wrong. He told police that he pulled over to the side of the road to go to the bathroom, but at that moment, 2 men driving a white van pulled up and yanked Melina out, abducting her, and then they took off in the opposite direction. This is the picture that went out with the Amber Alert that law enforcement triggered for Melina. This was shared across the internet, but in the next few hours and over the next day, police say they found out that the story of the abduction was a lie. They found inconsistencies, they say, in Luciano's story, and he was detained. Then, just before 2 o'clock on Sunday, police were in Ticonderoga, New York, which is near the Vermont border, and they were searching a wooded area. This was about 45 minutes north of where that 911 call was made. They say in that wooded area, they found Melina's body. She was left in a shallow pond, according to police. And we just learned the cause of death. Police say that Melina died of asphyxiation due to drowning. Her body allegedly left behind in that shallow pond in a wooded remote area of upstate New York, and her own father, police say, is the man responsible. Police say before her death Saturday night, Melina actually was on the phone with her mom.
So basically, he drowned her. Basically, I don't know if he drowned. Listen, basically he drowned her. I don't know if she had to be still alive in order to be considered to have drowned, but I don't know if she was still conscious when he did it. But basically they saying he drowned her.
She had called around 6:30 to tell her that she and her dad were on their way back to Canada. Here's what New York State Police during their news conference said about that.
At about 6:30 p.m., she spoke to her mother on the phone and told her she and her father were en route back to Canada. The child appeared to be in good health and did not indicate she was under any duress. The investigation has determined sometime after Melina's phone call with her mother and before Mr. Fertolin's 911 call, he allegedly murdered Melina and left her body in a remote area where she was later discovered by law enforcement.
At the time of this recording, we don't know the alleged motive in this case, but it is notable that police said this in that news conference.
They're expected to return to Canada on Sunday, July 20th, at which time Melina would be returned to the custody of her mother in Montreal.
The mother and Mr. Fratolin have been estranged since 2019. The child resides full-time with her mother, and Fratolin visited with the child when in Canada.
On the website of the coffee company that lists Luciano as the founder, there's a post that said in 2019, he was met with an unfortunate event that severely impacted his well-being. This is according to the Canadian news outlet City News. It's unclear what he meant by that unfortunate incident, but that 2019 timeline lines up with the year that police say he became estranged from his wife. It's important to note that his coffee company's website and social media have been taken down. Frattolin's social media showed him living a lavish lifestyle, a true jet setter going all across the world. This is a video from his Instagram posted 5 weeks ago of him touring a garage of luxury cars. Here's another video in Europe of him driving luxury vehicles. Social media, his coffee business, that gave the impression publicly that this was a man who had money to spend. He has a lot of pictures showing that he brought Melina with him on these vacations as well across the world, showering her with love and with gifts. But today we're learning from a report by the Gazette newspaper, which is out of Montreal, that Luciano was involved in 5 lawsuits that were all filed this year. Now, he's the plaintiff in 4 of the lawsuits, but in the 5th lawsuit, the newspaper says he is the defendant and he is being sued by a bank for more than $83,000.
Oh, wow. So he's got 5 lawsuits. He's the plaintiff in 4 of them, but 1 of them he's a defendant. This says that McConnell said the cause of Melina's death is currently unknown, and that, how is he saying his name? Fralioni has no criminal record or history of domestic violence. According to municipal court records, he does not have a criminal record. He is currently involved in 5 lawsuits that were all filed this year. He is the plaintiff in 4 of the lawsuits, in the one in which he is the defendant, he is being sued for more than $83,000 by a bank. That means he got a loan and didn't pay it back. You know, some of these I'm not going to even say celebrities because he wasn't a celebrity. Some of these people that we see on Instagram and social media that's living high on the horse, as they say, y'all remember me telling y'all, and I say this all the time because I always think about this when it comes to the ghetto fabulous lifestyle that I think that B-Love and her husband lives. Listen, I'm not saying that the people don't make money, but it's the same thing I tell my daughters. You don't have to have a lot of money in order to live a certain type of lifestyle. As long as you got good credit, you can get anything. You got good credit, you got income. You know what I'm saying? You good to go. Some of these people be living beyond their means. Some of these people be, portraying a certain type of lifestyle, and they're living it, but they're living it, but they're not able to afford it. They're not able to afford it. So yeah, basically he must have owed that bank money. I don't know if he had life insurance on her or not. Keep it cute. That could be an issue too. You do know that there's a lot of people that also unalive family that spouses and children and stuff for money. So if he was in debt, which hell we all in debt, shit. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to listen and wait and see as to what his mindset was. I'm a little confused on this one. I am. I'm a little confused. I gotta admit that.
It doesn't go into more detail about what the suits were over. But whatever those legal issues are, they certainly pale in comparison to what he is now dealing with. This is video of Luciano ahead of his first court appearance yesterday in Ticonderoga, New York, per WNYT. You can see he didn't show a lot of emotion, even as reporters asked him questions.
Mr. Fratolin, do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to say about these charges?
A public defender entered a not guilty plea on his behalf at that court appearance, and the New York Post wrote that Fratolin said he can't hire an attorney because he's broke. Join us now to talk more about this case is family law attorney Randy Kessler.
So he told the courts he broke. Keep cute. So how you touring a luxury car dealership and going on 10-day vacations to NYC and things of that nature, and you broke? Like, that's behooving to me. But let's listen.
Always great to have you on Law and Crime. This is a very, very sad case, and it seems like there's some sort of We don't officially know the motive at the time of this reporting, but there was some custody that was brought up by law enforcement, and then it appears that he was also being sued. What do you take of what we know thus far about what law enforcement may have to work with when it comes to a motive?
This is, the definition of circumstantial evidence, right? It's one of those cases where, motive really never is supposed to matter. You don't have to prove why somebody did something. But in this case, you need something to explain why you think he did it, right? And that's sort of the issue. And we were talking, Chris, before we went on air that, in some cases, there were restraining orders and lots of vitriolic behavior between the parties, and it didn't seem like that existed here. So it might be more psychological basis. We were talking about, maybe he had money or wanted the world to think he had money, but it turns out he doesn't have money. And maybe, his relationship with his ex-wife is estranged, but deep inside, he wanted her back and knew he couldn't get her back. And this is what he did to say, if I can't have her back, then I'm going to hurt her. I mean, all those kind of things. But from a legal point of view, does that equal a murder conviction? Do you get, reasonable doubt? There's lots of reasonable doubt. I just want to know what the police know. I want to know how strongly they feel they caught him lying, because they've got to have something that made them think, we got you.
And you've seen a lot of these cases, certainly when they get to, we often talk about some really sad cases when they get to the legal part of it and an arrest has been made. And I just think back to this story that he initially gives investigators of, he pulls over to the side of the road to go to the bathroom on this drive back, to Quebec. And he's in, they're outside of Saratoga, New York, or Lake George, wherever it may be. And then a white van pulls up, two men take his daughter, and it speeds south. And it just seems like in some of these stories, though you have to investigate every call like it's serious and follow every lead, sometimes these very sensational stories, maybe in his head it thought was a good idea, it just seemed police were pretty quick to be able to break it all down.
Yeah, I don't know how they could disprove it. Maybe there were cameras, close by that didn't see any such car going, anywhere within that time period. But, first blush, I thought, that's a pretty clever story, because there's no eyewitnesses. He's not saying I'm a perfect person. He's urinating on the side of the road, which is illegal. So he's owning up to doing something wrong. It's a very human story. Like, I really had to go and I shouldn't have done it. And I'm sorry if I did it, but I didn't kill my daughter. So it sounds like a pretty credible story. And maybe it is credible. I just want to know how the police know that story doesn't match up, because he had this story and he described the white van. Maybe if he said, I heard his car and I turned around, she was gone. But yeah, in a rural neighborhood, a rural area, you wouldn't think that there are video cams and security cameras. And
thank y'all for joining. Y'all make sure y'all hit the tap the screen twice.
Have done their job.
Hit the
you got to feel pretty darn strongly to arrest somebody for murder that you can make sure that their story doesn't match up. And I'm pretty sure that they've got a good feel for it.
And it's just it's part of the job. When you work for law and crime, you're going to be covering really sad stories from time to time, and this is certainly one of them. And you just go through his social media, and this is someone who seemed, he had one child, it was his daughter, he has his coffee company, says she was the light of his life. He worshipped this girl, and then she ends up dead, and he's now accused in the murder. Sometimes it's hard to make sense of it, but for you, just kind of being in the world of you see some tough cases when it comes to the world of family law. I mean, what stands out to you of where it seems like there was no indication that this could happen?
Well, first of all, you feel for the family. You feel for the mom, most of all. And maybe you feel for the dad. And again, right, it's law and crime. And in crime in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. So, our first feeling should be exactly what you're describing. This guy who loved his daughter has lost his daughter. And, God forbid the police are wrong. And we've sort of, instead of sympathizing with him, we're pointing the finger at him. So the first step is, we hope, that's why I keep saying I hope they have really good evidence, because to have these feelings of anger towards the father for taking this young girl's life, they better be legitimate. I don't want to just leap to that anger. None of us should be leaping to that anger unless law enforcement's done a really good job. But, if they're right, and if he is guilty, and if he's going to be the one found to have done it, boy, then my mind jumps to a lot of places. Social media portrays a different picture for people. A lot of times it's what people want their life to be. They want to show that they're having a good life. They don't post the bad stuff because they don't want people to think they've got flaws or blemishes or that they're not happy. And so I certainly wonder what's going on behind the scenes. But the more people post about how good things are, maybe you got to dig a little deeper. And, I think you've done a little digging, Chris. And, apparently his financial life wasn't what he portrayed on social media. And that starts to open the door to what else wasn't true.
Right. And we're still looking into it. I know the main newspaper in Montreal where he lived, he's a defendant in 4 lawsuits, and there's a bank that wanted $83,000 from him. And that is certainly a contrast to the social media where he owns this coffee company. Their social media has been taken down on their website, but it was like this organic coffee company based in Ethiopia that he ran out of Montreal. I mean, it just seemed like this was a guy who had it together. But then you also...
So Sonny said people need to stop living to impress others. If I don't have, I just don't have it. Right. I have no problem with living with let's still be a lot to someone else. Just be grateful. Listen, my whole thing is listen. I guess because I was raised with y'all know my mama raised me, and my grandmother was a very huge presence in our life, right? And those two, with my mom and my grandmama, I have to say, are two of the most. My grandma has passed, but my mom and my grandmama were two of the most humble women I know. Like it's like my grandmama lived well, my mama lived well, but they just humble, and they the type of women that's satisfied as long as the family good, the family's happy, everybody's good, everybody's healthy, happy. It's just is what it is. We comfortable with that. Like, don't get it twisted. Everybody want money. Everybody work for money. Everybody, want money and need money. Don't get it twisted. But I'm gonna just say this: my mom and my grandma are the type that they got the money, but if you didn't know they had the money, you wouldn't know it because they lived a certain type of way. They are very humble, and they make sure that before anything, family is straight. I listen. For me, honestly, from what I've seen in my little 50 years on this earth, money does not equal happiness, and I tell people that all the time. And I know this because I've been in the position of having money, 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 money. Money was not an issue, but then there were all these other issues. Like money wasn't an issue, but when I say there were issues, there were issues. Then I've also been in positions where I had to be humble, and the money was not money and like it did before. You know what I'm saying? So I've been on both sides, and one thing I know, you can have the money. You can have the money you can have the money to vacation, you can have the money to buy cars, you can have the money to buy houses, you can have the money to buy this and that and the third. And after all of that, after all the shopping and the vacationing, and you have to return to your everyday life, you still not happy. You still not happy. So I don't know why if people would realize that, having all the money in the world don't equate to happiness, I think we'll be better off. So he's a cop for business, wasn't successful, or he was living. Yeah, either that, Melissa, either it was not successful or he was living beyond his means. Yes, you have to be humble and not reckless with money. Hell, shit, because one thing about money, if you spend more than you take, if you spending out more than you bringing in, you gonna be fucked up anyway. So it's just is what it is. But people do a lot of evil shit for money, and I just think it's so sad. The love of money. They say money is the root. No, it's the love of money that's the root to all evil. People do some evil shit just for the almighty dollar, and it's just sad to me. I'd rather be comfortable, happy, healthy, family good, and being able to maintain than to have all the money in the world and have all these problems. Cause one thing what Carl said that's true: more money, more problems. Now that's a fact. That is a fact. It is. But anywho, let's listen.
To learn about the custody issues, and we don't know if that was a motive for this, but the daughter was going to be returned the next day to the full custody of the mom. How, when it comes to determining custody situations in families, what does because he was able to go on a 10-day vacation with his daughter. When I think of full custody, I think, only the mom only can see it and the dad doesn't really get to. What's the reality?
Well, let me get to that, but you made me think of something else I just got to say, which is you can't minimize the hurt. Some people, they don't get to see their kids ever, and you say they're justified in being angry. But this guy who had time, was allowed to have a vacation, he should be happy with that. No, this was his life. And at one point in time, he had full custody. I'll get to your question, which is when you're married, you have a child, both parents have equal custody, you have joint custody. And so at some point in time, his life went from being able to see his daughter whatever he wanted, even if they were separated and the child was at mom's house, legally, if you're married, you can go to mom's house and take your child, and she can come to your house and take your child back. You both have full rights. The law can't tell you what to do with your own child. And so at some point in time, his world transitioned to, I only have the rights to be with my daughter that this judge says I have, or that I agree to, and I'm limited. So that's pain, and that may cause a lot of the feeling. But back to your question, we sort of want to ignore the word custody because we don't anymore say he's got custody and she visits. There's always some form or variation of joint custody. Primary custody is with mom, secondary custody is with dad, or joint periods of custody. So the world's the limit, the sky's the limit as far as what a court can do. But the bottom line is the court tries to say, you all figure this out. You all share your child fairly, equitably. But if you can't, I'm going to give you a schedule that you can bank on so that if dad says, I'm not getting any time with my child, You pull out the document that says, my parenting time, my periods of custody, my visitation, whatever you call it, is this. And this was apparently one of those times where he had the extended time to take his child on a vacation. But, when you negotiate this stuff, the best thing lawyers can do for people is instill a sense of, don't look at the paperwork, try to work it out. If she needs an extra weekend because there's an event, let her have it, and hopefully she gives you extra time when you need it. Because if you can do that, you won't need lawyers, you won't need courts, and you won't end up in situations like this, hopefully, if you just cooperate.
Right, and again, we don't know what officially the motive was, but it was notable that New York State Police pointed that out in their news conference, saying that the timeline was that this vacation was about to come to an end, and the daughter was going to go back to the full custody of his estranged wife. For people who haven't been in that world, when it comes to someone getting full custody, and I'm not trying to speculate related to this case, but I think of like full custody, something happened, or the father may have a history of domestic violence, which this man does not. Right. But like, what can be some of the factors that would lead the court? And I know it's Canadian. And
I will say this though: domestic violence is not always reported. Just because there's no history doesn't mean that it didn't exist. Now, I'm not saying this guy here, abused his wife. I'm not saying that, but I have to make it a point of saying all domestic violence is not reported.
Quebec, and it might be different than the United States.
Yeah, family law, best interest of the child.
What leads to that?
So really, the judge's job is not about who's a bad person. And I'll tell you this, Chris, I've talked to thousands of judges over my 35, 40 years of practicing family law. Every judge to a person would say, I'd rather be the judge for a murder trial or a death penalty case than have to decide custody. Because in a murder trial, somebody did something wrong. In a custody case, you got innocent children, and the judge is tasked with figuring out what's best for the child. And it's a very vague standard. What's in the child's best interest? Not who's a better person, who's a better parent. It's what situation, what arrangement is best for the child. So judges have to come up with something based on their limited knowledge of this family. And so when you say what goes into it, well, you look at stability historically. What has been the system with that child? Who has fed the child? Who's brought the child to the doctors? Who is the child bond with? Who teaches the child homework? And the judge tries to get a picture of what would be better, more stable for the child, and put that situation in place. But judges hate it because there's social engineering. They're trying to figure out what's best for the child. One other question you sort of implied was, dad was giving the child back. And, that's a hard thing. And you said not everyone's been through that, but everyone who's got children has been through something like that, whether it's becoming an empty nester when your child's going to leave home, or your child gets their driver's license and now they're not home all the time. Dad spent this great amount of time this week with his child, and all of a sudden he was so happy, and he's got to give his child back, and he's going to be sad. And if he's got psychological issues that are, in his head, that's a tough time to give your child away.
I think he does have issues, y'all.
It's a lot worse in cases where you hate the other spouse and the other spouse is yelling at your child and telling bad things about you to your child. But even in a situation like this, when we don't know if that exists, he still had the happiest moments of his life with his daughter, and then he was giving up the happiest thing in his life to someone who lives in another country. The brain does some crazy things and makes you do some crazy things, and I pray he didn't do this and this wasn't one of them, but it could easily be.
Yeah. When it comes to, and I agree, when it is one of those cases, to your point, like you just hope, not that you hope, but if you're going to arrest somebody and charge them with murder, that there is the evidence that this happened. And they say they chased that lead of the white van, and they triggered an Amber Alert, and they followed through with that, police say, and they don't believe that was true.
And see, another thing people don't realize, or I don't think they think about, is the fact that in this world we live in today, somebody's always watching. What I mean by that is there's cameras everywhere. Everywhere. You tell a story of a white van somewhere in that vicinity, somewhere in the location where you say this happened at, there has to be a white van caught on a camera somewhere. Because, cameras are on the streets as far as these poles up in the air. There's cameras on people's houses. Hell, some people ride around with cameras in their cars, aka a crazy ass Adrian. It's just you can't get away from cameras. Like, you just can't. And so the whole white van scenario, shit, wherever location you was in, sir, they done searched them cameras, they done searched for this white van, and apparently they didn't find no evidence of no white van. I don't know why people don't think, like, honestly, when people commit these crimes, I don't understand. You're not going to be able to lie your way out of it when there's cameras everywhere. You better say it for keep it cute everywhere. And you tell a story. I'm going to tell you something. When you tell a story or give an alibi or say this and that happened, it better be some type of digital trace of the story you're telling. Because, yeah.
not to have you make a leap on this, but knowing that we found out today, just through the reporting of the main newspaper in Montreal, that he's a defendant in 4 lawsuits, including an $83,000. A bank wants $83,000 from him, so apparently he's in some debt, potentially. Is that something that a judge would look at and determine? And I don't know, I also give this disclaimer, I don't know about how long the custody situation is, what it's been, but is that also something, the financial situation, that a judge would look at in determining where a child would be best fit with the mom or the dad?
Oh, in a custody case, certainly, more than in a murder case, but in a custody case, it wouldn't be so much the financial responsibility. A lot of people say to me, Mr. Kessler, I've got a lot of money and my spouse doesn't have money, so I should get custody because I can take care of the child.
That's how a lot of these people, listen, I don't think we've watched a court case yet where there wasn't some type of phone activity put into evidence. We see it all the time. People still don't have sense enough to know that if you got your phone with you, you're being watched. You're being traced. You're being tracked, as they say. You take your phone with you, you are being tracked. A lot of these cars, you're being tracked. People don't think about none of that when they decide to commit these crimes. They just don't.
What the judge can do? The judge can use some of your money to help you support the child when the child's on the other side. So money issues aren't always important. So it's not the fact that he owes money that would get me, Chris. It would be the fact that he's not stable, not honest, deceive somebody. If that's what happened, if he owes money because he engaged in some bad judgment, and really what it's about for judges is judgment. Somebody's going to be in charge of this child. Judges rarely do an equal 50-50. They're going to have somebody be the main parent. The main parent should be the person that's the most stable, the most consistent, the most likely to raise this child in a way that's going to give this child the best future. Someone who's got a lot of lawsuits and is accused of, not paying a lot of debts, that could weigh into it. I want to know more about the background of the lawsuit, but certainly it could be a factor.
And we don't know specifically his financial situation, but that bank lawsuit specifically, that one in particular sticks out just because that's the only real number we have, $83,000 reportedly a bank wanted from him. He was in court in New York yesterday, and even though, again, social media doesn't tell the entire story, but he loved Porsche. He traveled all over the world. He runs this coffee company, apparently, that was still in business, still is in business, but he says he doesn't have money. What typically is the bar for someone to get a public defender, and where that money comes from and whether you're eligible for it?
Well, you don't really have to go through an analysis and prove that you can't afford one, because then you'd have people, lying. You're entitled to a lawyer. If you say you can't afford one, the court appoints one for you. Now, if you end up having a lot of money and you just wanted a public defender, there are 2 things wrong with that situation. Number one, the court could always come and say, listen, you took money from the taxpayers you didn't need. But more importantly, there's a perception that public defenders are not as good as private lawyers. That's not necessarily true because they're in the trenches. But what is true is that public defenders are overwhelmed, right? We just don't have enough money to pay a lot of public defenders. And the ones that are really good, they're really good. But if they're really good, they go out and they practice law and they make a lot more money. So that, you have young lawyers coming in. So if you have money and you're accused of a crime, usually you're going to try to find a private lawyer who might have been a public defender at one point in time, but now has got such a good reputation and does such good work that they can command higher fees. So whether he has money for a public defender or not, he's entitled to one in America. That's Gideon versus Wainwright. You're entitled to a lawyer to defend you. And if he wants a public defender, the court's going to give him one, unless he's already got one, unless there's some. And even if there's a conflict and there's a co-defendant who's got the public defender already, then the court can draft a criminal lawyer that's a private lawyer and say, we need you to do this, and we need you to do some service on behalf of the state. So he'll get a public defender if he wants one, and if he says he can't afford one.
I asked the question yesterday to our guest, who was a former FBI agent, and it was just about, even though we don't know motive, police were saying, you had this exchange of custody that was going to happen with the child, and you were talking about how emotional that is. And sadly, we've talked about some cases where these, there can be very difficult circumstances surrounding that. And I know the expert we had yesterday said, when I asked, how do we prevent some of these cases from happening if it is something where it was just the emotions of that leads to something as terrible as what he's accused of? And he said, well, then you're looking for something along the lines of like a Department of Pre-Crime, and it's hard to predict. It's in so many ways it's reactionary, and it doesn't seem like there were a lot of red flags, at least at this point, in the relationship between the father and the child. But just in your experience working in family law, what are some of the things in these circumstances? Because I feel like we've talked about these stories a good bit, where just stuff like this seems to unfortunately happen around these types of exchanges.
Well, your guest was obviously pretty smart. It's like you need a division of mind readers.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there was a Tom Cruise movie about that where,
Minority Report, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And then, so how do you predict this? And even if there was that situation, this one had the least indication that something like this would happen. There are cases where you clearly could have seen something coming a lot clearer than this. But he's right. Your guest was right. You've got to go after the people that have already committed crimes before you start worrying about people that might commit crimes. And that's the problem. So, how do you do that? You try to craft a good custody resolution. You also try to be good to your ex-spouse. And I'm not blaming mom at all. It sounds like they had a good relationship. She let the child go. But and it sounds like she did everything she could from the little bit that I know. But you know, when you irritate people and love's involved and anger and romance and sex, and all of a sudden you're divorcing somebody and you're rejecting them and you're not letting him or her see their child and you're exerting control over them, people just react, right? And family law is one of those. People react. They don't think about for 3 years. Well, when my daughter turns 13, they're just angry and they do stupid stuff because they think it's going to make them feel better. You know, I have clients all the time that say, I want to go to court, Mr. Kessler. I don't want to take that settlement. And I say, the settlement's exactly what's going to happen in court, more or less, you know, and it costs a lot less. They say, but if the judge hears my side of the story, they're going to go with me. And I try to say to them, there's another side to the story, and the judge is going to hear both sides. And it's really a math problem for the judge. People have their own sense of what's right and what's wrong, and they want vindication. And, you know, the best thing we can do is tell people, take a breath, you know, measure twice, cut once is one of my favorite sayings. Let people step back, think about what you would tell a friend to do. But there's no panacea. There's no one solution for how do you stop stuff like this, except education, you know, alarm bells, and make sure that people know. But, you know, can you say no parent should let their child go with the other parent because something like this might happen? I mean, how about all the wonderful parenting times that people have post-divorce, or people that weren't married that have to share their child? You know, there's some children that have wonderful relationships with both parents. And I would hope that's the majority. But, you know, stuff like this, if I knew how to fix it, I'd be very smart or very rich or both.
Yeah, no, incredibly well put. Just such a sad story out of New York, and we'll learn more, you know, potentially about a motive as New York State Police continue to investigate. Randy Kessler, it's always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for talking about this with us.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Okay, so one last clip from this particular story, and then we're gonna move on. And he was in court. Let me see. Yeah, he was in court 6 days ago. And let me bring up the visual. Whew, child. This is a lot. And I'm introducing these cases, and like I said, they're fairly new. And even though we're gonna be following the trial of this last case we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna still keep y'all updated on these two cases. Like I say, they are fairly new. So he was in court 6 days ago. Let's listen.
The second degree, a Class A1 felony,
Hopefully
as
y'all can
well as a charge of concealment of a human corpse, a Class B felony. You have certain rights with respect to these charges. You have the right to remain silent, and you cannot be forced to testify against yourself or make any written or oral statement. You are entitled to a speedy and public trial, in which you have the right to confront witnesses who may testify against you. You also have the right to call witnesses and to submit evidence on your own behalf. You are presumed to be innocent. The district attorney bears the burden to prove each and every element of the crimes charged beyond a reasonable doubt, and a jury must unanimously agree on any verdict of guilt. You understand everything I've said thus far? Following this arraignment, you have the right to adjourn, to give your attorney time to prepare for trial. Are the people submitting anything at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Counsel are reminded of the continuing obligations regarding discovery. The court has issued a Brady decision. I'm not sure if you've been provided that.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Okay. We're going to be setting up the motion schedule. Again, it has 45 days from today's date to file omnibus motions. That would be September 13th. Because of the weekend, I'm moving that to September 15th. People's responses are due on September 29th. A reply, if any, will be due on or before October 6th. I'm going to be scheduling a conference. We'll get to that in a moment. But should pretrial hearings be directed, I'm going to schedule those hearings for November 12th, beginning at 10 a.m. I've also penciled any jury trial on this matter to keep things moving. And
one thing I haven't heard, and which you probably won't get, but I haven't heard mentioned whether or not he was maybe this. I don't know if it's gonna be addressed in it. This clip is only like 8 minutes, y'all. Then we're gonna move on. But I wonder if he confessed of why he did it. He's still saying he didn't do it. He's saying that she was kidnapped. But I haven't heard the mention of bail being granted. I wouldn't think that they would grant him bail for the mere fact that he's not a citizen here. He's like, he could flee back to Canada. I don't know. But I just think that's weird. We hadn't heard anything, but let's listen.
Retrial will commence on January 5th of 2026 at 9:30 a.m. All right, so let's now talk about bail. Mr. Language,
see, there we go.
As you noted, the defendant is charged with the top count of murder in the second degree. That carries a maximum sentence of 25 years to life. As far as his ties to New York State, he has none, as well as no ties to the United States. He has an Italian and an Ethiopian passport. I believe he has a dual citizenship there. He has an international driver's license for Ethiopia, Canada. He's claimed residences in Canada as well as Ethiopia, and has businesses listed in Canada as well as Ethiopia. Given his lack of ties to our country and to the state, the possible life sentence that he's now facing, people ask that he be remanded without bail. If it is people's opinion that no amount of money would ensure that he would return, given his lack of ties, dual citizenships in Italy and Ethiopia, and also the fact the maximum sentence of life here. He has no ties to our state, he has no ties to the United States. And I believe he is a flight risk and he should be remanded without bail. If Your Honor is going to consider some type of monetary bail, people's opinion, he has, I guess, made it known, he had bid on a $5 million property in Montreal this time. He has shown that realtor, I guess, a $30 million bank account. He is, at least according to us, planned on attempting to sell a mining company that would also be worth a significant amount of money. So if you do so now, I'd ask that be very happy.
Thank you. Ms. Evans, would you like to right now? Yes, thank you. Mr. Farley is here. He is applied for criminal history. He is a U.S. citizen and has never had a warrant for his arrest or failure to appear in court. If he is released, he intends to stay in the department of New York City with a friend. His name is not disclosed off the record for their safety. He would give up his Italian passport, which he has, and an Ethiopian passport. And he is subject to electronic monitoring. He will appear in every and all proceedings in this court case. We would request legal monetary bail. Mr. Farley, as I said, as there is a drug-related allegations, he maintains his innocence until proven guilty. There's no financial support here in the United States. That's a reasonable monetary bail. The court has reviewed criminal history, and it does note that there is no other arrest in his past, at least that we've discovered. And I would be hard pressed to ignore the severity of the charges that are pending against him at this time. He does not have any ties to this area or even New York City, other than having a friend. There has been a lot of discussion regarding what his assets are. I'm not sure of the reality of that, but I have determined that there's a reasonable cause to believe that the defendant stands charged with a felony, a class A1 felony, which is a violent felony offense. I find that remand to the correctional facility is the only way to guarantee his attendance here in court.
So right there, the judge is denying bail, which I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. I would have been shocked if she had given him a bail, to be honest, because he is a flight risk. He has no ties to us at all. Not even New York, where he was at. Yeah, I would have been surprised if she had given him a bail.
Because of the transient nature of this, of these allegations of his citizenship and really his ties to this area, I can't guarantee his return. So, Mr. Fradley,
He could flee to Canada, or he could flee to Ethiopia. He has ties to both of those. He has a home in Canada. He has a home in Ethiopia. He has a business in Canada, a business in Ethiopia. He's the ultimate flight risk. Like he is.
I will be remanding you to custody of the Essex County Sheriff to be provided at future dates for the court. I also want to note that you are ordered to appear each and every court date, and if you fail to appear, and I know you're going to be remanded, but if you refuse to leave your cell, I would consider that a failure to appear. And I can conduct hearings and proceedings in your absence, and you can go to trial. So you need to be here for your own defense. Your attorney will struggle to represent you if she doesn't have access to you. So make sure that you stay.
Oh yeah, Italy too. Thank you, Heather. I forgot about Italy.
I will schedule a compliance conference in light of the fact that I'm going to be remanding you for August 19th at 3 p.m. At that time,
Can't
we
be
will
too
discuss
damn
where you
broke.
stand with discovery. Steph,
Just saying.
anything further from the people? No, Your Honor. Anything further from the defense? All right, I'm going to remand you back to custody of the Essex County Sheriff to be produced on August 19th. Thank you, everyone.
August 19th. Okay, let me write that down. August 19th. So apparently he's gonna be back in court August 19th. Y'all know what? And I really don't want to.
I also want to know, members of the press, I know you all put in applications for continuing proceedings, but I'm going to need you to send in those applications for each and every proceeding that you attend, just so that I have an idea of who's coming in so we can facilitate that. Thank you for your cooperation today. Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of that. We finna move on. But I have to say this, and I know I can't believe I'm saying it out loud. He had a lot of that more money going out. Yeah. So I don't want to say in looking at him standing in court, and I know y'all didn't see the visual, but this is basically him in court. It's just something about this case. It's something about what I feel about this case, right? And I'm not gonna say I feel sorry for this dude because I don't, because to me, honestly, there's no excuse on a rational brain that you take the life of your daughter. But for some reason with this guy, I'm not gonna say I feel sorry. I'm just gonna say that I feel like it's something going on in his mind. It was something. It's something off. Something not right. Like I don't think he. It's just something about him that I feel like. And y'all know how a lot of times when we cover stuff, the first thing people want to holler is mental illness. Like, mental illness, mental illness, mental illness. I think you got to be a little bit of mental illness. Everybody's got a touch of mental illness, something they dealing with or whatever. But it's something about this guy and the fact that I do believe he truly, truly, truly loved his daughter. Like, I feel like he truly loved his daughter. And I feel like on his brain, in his mind, what he did it for a reason. And he did it for a reason that he felt was good enough. Like he unalived his daughter, true or no, but he unalived his daughter because of probably dealing with some type of psychological issues. I just don't see him as being evil. I think he may be a little ill, but I don't think he's evil. But love does not hurt, Funberry. I get it. But you know what? Listen. I'm not gonna ever say. Well, I'm not gonna say this man didn't love his daughter. Cause see, you got to remember that when it comes to people that are mentally ill, what he did equated to love. Like I feel like he unalived his daughter for reasons that we probably wouldn't understand. Cause we would never unalive one of our kids, right? For no reason at all. But two, I think it's something going on with him inside of him. I think it's something that's inside of him, whether it's mental, like something's up, something's off. And I'm sure as this case goes on, things will be revealed. Maybe the ex-wife will speak out or whatever. I don't know. But what I will promise y'all is that I'm gonna keep y'all updated on this. I do got a couple more videos that I want us to watch on it, but we're gonna do it at another time. Because for right now, we're gonna move on to the next case. Okay. All right. So let me now, like I told y'all before, this next case is pretty much the same, except it's the mother that did what she did. Let me explain to y'all what's going on. Hold on. Whoo, child. I don't know. Now, for some reason, my feelings towards this person, this mother, is not the same that I feel towards that guy. For some reason, I don't know, but I don't feel. I feel like I know why she did what she did. I feel like I know. Don't make it gospel, but this is my feelings. But anywho, we're gonna get into it. Let me pull it up. think I drank too much coffee. I can always tell when I'm drinking too much coffee. Because if you want to come back up. So this next case is shout out to Candy, who is not in the chat. And I hope everything is good with her because she's usually in the chat. But this next case we're going to cover, y'all, is Candy. Candy knows this woman. Candy Corn knows this woman. Apparently, this woman is the pediatrician to Candy's children pediatrician. I think that's what she told me. I think that's what she said. That this woman is her kids' pediatrician. Let me pull up the playlist. I'm trying to, I only got 2 videos. Okay, well, we're going to get through this. So, let me give y'all the backstory on keep it cute. yeah, Natasha. Candy knows this woman, Candy Corn. She's her kid's pediatrician, or used to be her kid's pediatrician, because she's locked up right now. And can you imagine a pediatrician who cares for your kids? Can you imagine? And as a mother, she's a mother. She unalived her own daughter. Beautiful girl. She unalived her own daughter. Pretty much the same way this guy. I mean, when I tell you these 2 cases are similar, it's just on both sides of the spectrum. It's like the last case was the dad. This is the mom. Her name is Neha Gupta. She's a pediatrician out of Oklahoma. She's another one that is going through a divorce, involved in a custody battle, and took her child on vacation. When I tell y'all, these 2 cases are exactly the same. And this is so fucking weird to me. That's why I had to talk about it. She's a pediatrician, 4-year-old daughter, going through a divorce, going through a custody battle, takes her daughter on vacation. Last day of vacation, she unalives her daughter, makes up a story, called the cops, and lie. Let me pull up the audio. Of course, this is from Law and Crime Network. Okay. A pediatrician. Here's the backstory. I think in some cultures, if they can't have them, they think it's best to.
Charged with caring for children, is accused of killing her own 4-year-old daughter and staging her death to look like an accidental drowning. Her attorney says it is all a huge misunderstanding and that prosecutors are jumping to conclusions. We're speaking with a coroner to find out what investigators look for in a case like this and the red flags that led to murder charges. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. 36-year-old Neha Gupta is currently in the process of being extradited from her home state of Oklahoma to Florida, where authorities say she killed her daughter during a beat.
She lives in Oklahoma, took her daughter to vacation in Florida. Okay.
Vacation. Police in El Portal, Florida, this is in the Miami area, say that Gupta and her 4-year-old daughter, Arya Talathi, checked into a rental property on June 25th. 2 days later, Arya would be dead and Gupta would be in a police interview room questioned about how her little girl ended up in a backyard pool in the middle of the night. So to talk more about the investigation so far, I want to bring in a special guest. I want to bring in South Carolina coroner Nada Rutherford. Nada, thank you so much for coming here on Sidebar. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a very sad story.
It really is, and I would imagine, unfortunately, that in your career you have, seen it all. How difficult is it to perform examinations, autopsies when you're dealing with a child?
Honestly, you have to remove the emotion out of it. You have to remove yourself from it. I'm a mom. I can't imagine hurting my children. I can't imagine any adult hurting a child. But when you come across this in my line of work, you want answers. So you take the negative emotion out, like the anger, and you put.
Now I'm gonna do a little spoiler alert just because I want to say this, because this is how delusional people are when it comes to committing these crimes and not really thinking about the crime and not thinking about what lie they gonna tell and how that lie don't make sense. Now it's just like with the father who we just listened to, right? I hope she's not his estranged wife. She did one and he did one. They don't always take spouses. Now that would be great. Now these two are not related. That man from Canada, son. This is not related. And this woman is Indian. He's Ethiopian. Even though their nationalities don't matter, no, that's not a what's that? But listen, this is how people actually feel like they can outsmart the cops, even though it doesn't make sense that they will. Now, you had the dad over there saying that there was a white van and blah, 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 blah. And the cop saying there's no trace of a white van. So you made up this whole lie, not understanding that if these people don't come across this white van or see any evidence of this white van, they're going to start looking at you. Now, it's just like this mom. Now, this is what get me. This lady is a doctor. She's a pediatrician. She cares for other people's children. She's a damn doctor, and she thought that she could tell these people, the cops, the law, that her daughter drowned, knowing that her daughter did not have any water in her lungs because she know her daughter did not drown. But this woman should have known. Autopsy gonna be done. They not gonna find water in your daughter's lungs, and you're going to prison. Why did you think you could tell that story? Why did you think that you can stage it and make it seem like your daughter drowned when you knew that there was no water in her lungs? Because when you put her in that water, she was already deceased. But on your brain, as a pediatrician, knowing this, you still told that lie to the cops that your daughter drowned in that pool, knowing you had smothered her and she wasn't even breathing when you put her in the water. So drowning equals water in lungs. That equals drowning. Your baby had no water in her lungs. Okay, let's listen.
Yourself into the shoes of someone who would want to know the answer. And that's what my job is as the coroner, is to do a death investigation that is so thorough that we get to the truth.
Is the examination of a child, is it different than an adult? Are there circumstances with the body that are just different when you're dealing with somebody that young?
Absolutely, especially with the way that the medical examiner said that this child died. So in an adult, when you would see asphyxiation, you're more likely going to see defensive wounds on the person. You're going to see ligature marks. You're going to see certain things because an adult is much bigger than a tiny little child like this little girl was. And so the examination turns a lot to the internal structures. You're looking at the inside of the mouth, even the tongue, the teeth, the gums, to see what exactly happened and how this person may have been able to overtake this child.
We're going to get to the autopsy results because there's a lot to get into there. But
I'm sorry, y'all. For some reason, this thing is not sped up, and I got to speed it up because we're going to run out of time. Let me do something real quick. Oh, Lord have mercy, honey. This stuff be draining listening to this mess. Hold on, y'all.
autopsy results because there's a lot to get into there. But here's what we seem to know so far about what led up to 4-year-old Aria's death. So this is a timeline according to the warrant in this case. Around 3:40 a.m. on Friday, June 27th, El Portal Police and Miami-Dade Fire Rescue responded to a rental home, and Gupta directed them to the backyard where they found this little girl submerged in the deep end of the backyard pool. Now, Gupta would later tell police that she herself couldn't swim, so apparently she couldn't really jump in herself to save her daughter. They pulled the little girl out. They started doing CPR, rushed her to a hospital, but she was pronounced dead at 4:30 a.m. This is, again, according to the warrant in this case. Now, Nita, the warrant for Gupta's arrest says that the little girl was submerged in the water. It's unclear how far under the water she was, but what could cause her to be submerged versus floating to the top, if we just take that as true?
Well, one, the way that a body reacts to water when it is actively drowning is very different than if you put a person in post-mortem. They're more likely to be submerged if they're not breathing when they go into that water. So
exactly. So the baby wasn't even breathing when she went down in the water, because I'm thinking to myself, why would she be submerged and not floating on the top? Why would she be in the water submerged and not floating? And it's because she wasn't breathing when she was put in the water.
Her body was just taking on the weight of the water, and gravity just was pulling her down. The number one red flag for me in all of this was this mom claims that she waited 10 minutes to call emergency personnel because she could not swim and she couldn't figure out how to get her daughter out. Now, maybe in someone who has cognitive delays, but this is a woman who went to medical school. This is a person who is a physician. And you're telling me that in 10 minutes, you didn't know to call 911 as soon as you saw your child in the water?
Absolutely.
That was red flag number one for me.
If your ass wasn't going to jump in because you couldn't swim, because, see, I know a lot of parents, me probably being one of them, you can't really say what you would do in certain type situations, but shit, I would think that if I saw my baby drowning, we both have to drown. Because I think I'm going to jump in and try to save my baby. I'm not going to stand there. I'm not going to stand there and watch her be submerged underwater and wait 10 minutes to call 911. By the time 911 get there, if I can't swim and I can't get her out of there, we both going to be down in that water. I'm not finna stand there for 10 minutes knowing I can't swim. Heather, it ain't got nothing to do with watching. The baby didn't drown. The mama put her in that water. She suffocated her. She suffocated the baby and put her in the water to make it seem as though she got out of the bed, wandered out to the pool, and died. That's not what happened.
Prepare people who look, I don't care if you can't swim. If your daughter's in the pool, you jump in.
You damn right.
No matter what. That's a big red flag. And I think you hit the nail on the head really well. She knows the dangers of having a small child in the water for that period of time, right? That's what makes it a little suspicious. Now, of course, we'll get into the other side in a second, but again, how many comments are we going to get on this video where somebody goes, I'm a parent, I don't care if I can't swim, I don't care if I see my child in some sort of environment, I'm rushing in no matter what. I don't know.
Adrenaline takes over. I mean, we've all heard the stories about moms who've picked up cars to remove them off of their child. We've seen people who don't know how to swim who jump in and are able to save their child. I don't know how big the pool was. I don't know what things she had at her disposal there, but I can't imagine that you have a pool in a rental home that doesn't have like a life vest. I mean, I would think it would be mandatory if you have a rental in a pool that you should have some sort of life-saving devices there. Like, you didn't have anything that you could jump into that pool with. There were so many red flags just from the start of it. As soon as I started reading about it, I said, yeah, this mom definitely, there's so many red flags here, and she definitely did something to this little girl.
By the way, I have to talk to you about something real quick. Not to take away from this in any way, but I have to talk to you about debt. Okay, so debt doesn't just show up one day. It builds little by little. Credit cards.
It's this Morgan & Morgan for me. Like, they gonna advertise this Morgan & Morgan. I don't give a damn what's going on. Law and Crime and Morgan are some motherfuckers, baby, because they are intertwined. Do you hear me? Let's listen to Morgan and Morgan advertise. Please make sure y'all hit the like button. Thank you to the 58 people in the building. I absolutely appreciate you all. Please tap the screen twice, hit the like button, and feel free to support the channel. Hit the I think it's pinned. Hit the cash out, hit the super chat, super sticker, support the channel. The pool was not that deep. She got in the pool to put her daughter in it. She didn't necessarily have to get in the pool to put her daughter in it. She didn't have to get in there to put her daughter in it. But I'm not going to even entertain the notion of her jumping in because she never intended on jumping in because she put her in there. She put her in there. She put her in there. She went to the side of the pool, put the baby in. The baby went down in the water, and she stood there for 10 minutes, and then she called the cops. Period.
Medical bills. Suddenly, you're juggling all these payments. You're feeling stuck. Here's the good news. We have American Financing as our sponsor, and they will give you a reset.
Oh,
so
this
they help
American
homeowners like you
Financing this
every
time.
day. They use your home's equity, and they roll that high-interest debt into one simple, affordable payment. They are saving homeowners an average of $800 a month. There's no judgment. There's no pressure, just real solutions that put you back in control. Imagine breathing again, sleeping again, knowing your future is yours to shape. It starts with one call. Only takes 10 minutes to get started, and there are no upfront fees, so it costs you nothing to find out how much you can save. And if you start today, you may be able to delay your next 2 payments. American Financing salary-based consultants, they're ready to listen, they're ready to help. Take back your peace of mind with American Financing. Call American Financing today at 866-891-2821. That's 866-891-2821, or go to americanfinancing.net/sidebar. And we're going to talk about the autopsy. Apparently revealed something very interesting. We'll talk about that. But for purposes of this conversation, okay, how long does drowning take? In other words, how long would a little girl like Aria have to be in that water for it to be fatal?
Seconds. You can drown off of a teaspoon of water. We've heard stories where people are drinking and they choke to death. It doesn't have to be a lot of water. It doesn't need to be some long exposure time. In seconds, this little girl could have drowned if that truly were her cause of death. Now, some other things to consider here are that asphyxiation due to drowning can happen in a number of ways. Like I said, drinking water, a teaspoon of water is all you need, especially for a child that young, for it to go down the wrong way and not receive, resuscitative efforts. But the other side to this is that this little girl to be out there for that period of time, 10 minutes,
that's it,
in the middle of the night. Like, as a mom staying in a rental unit by yourself, like, you didn't think to secure the doors. Like, there's no alarm. There's just so many red flags here.
We're going to talk about that too. I also am curious, what were her life-saving efforts to try to get the girl, her daughter, out of the pool as well? Well, I'll tell you this. Hours after Aria died, Gupta was at the police station with her lawyer where police questioned her about what happened here. Gupta apparently told police that she and Aria had traveled from Edmond, Oklahoma to the Miami area for a vacation. The thing about that is, Gupta and Aria's father, so this is Dr. Saurabh Talathi, were divorced. They had apparently been embroiled in a vicious custody dispute. We'll talk about that more later, but he told police that he didn't know his ex-wife and daughter had gone to Florida. Details in the warrant reveal that surveillance video from the rental property corroborated Gupta's story that she and Aria were the only occupants of this Airbnb from June 25th to June 27th. So here's what Gupta had to say to the police department. This is, again, according to an affidavit in her arrest warrant. And by the way, a quick note here. The warrant refers to Gupta as the subject and Aria as deceased victim. It says, quote, on Friday, June 27th, the subject voluntarily responded to Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office headquarters, accompanied by her attorney, and agreed to provide an audio-recorded statement. The subject stated that on Thursday, June 26, 2025, they arrived at the rental property between the hours of 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. The subject stated that the deceased victim was tired after a full day of riding jet skis, along with spending the day at the beach, and was asleep. The subject stated she carried the deceased victim into the residence, and at approximately 9 p.m., the subject woke the deceased victim up to eat dinner. The subject stated the deceased victim then ate dinner and remained awake until approximately 12:30 a.m., where they co-slept on a bed located within the master bedroom. The subject stated at approximately 3:20 a.m., the subject was awakened by an unidentified noise and realized that the deceased victim was not in the bed or within the bedroom. The subject said she then realized the sliding glass door located in the bedroom, which leads to the outside patio, was open. The subject stated prior to sleeping, she locked all the sliding glass doors at the residence. The subject stated she then observed the deceased victim submerged underwater within the swimming pool of the residence. The subject stated she attempted to remove the victim from the pool. However, she was unsuccessful due to the fact that she's unable to swim. The subject stated she attempted for approximately 10 minutes.
Be safe, Candy Corn. But listen, let me tell y'all something. So y'all just heard that the affidavit read that she fed her daughter around 9:00 p.m. and then they went to sleep, just left the courthouse and didn't think to get paperwork. You just left the courthouse on this? Girl, wait a minute, hold up. No, because they in court and she's in court and didn't think to get her paperwork. Ain't this case being tried in Florida? Listen. You just heard that she said she fed her baby around 9:00 and they went to sleep. No, what, Ken? I'm not understanding what you're saying. And they went to sleep and she woke up around 12 or whatever, and the baby was in the pool. Two things. When they did the autopsy, they found no food. No food. No food. That's now. Listen. They said this lady in. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, I get the last part. She's being tried in Florida. I'm still not understanding what you mean by courthouse and paperwork. What paperwork you talking about getting from the courthouse? Because if she's being tried in Florida, what paperwork would you be able to get? So, from what I heard, according to the autopsy results, the baby didn't have no food in her or water in the lungs. So that means she did not feed the baby. Ain't no telling how long that baby had been passed away. She did not feed the baby, and the baby had no water in her lungs, which means she did not drown. She did not want her husband to have their daughter. She was probably jealous of the relationship. Well, it is saying that, it is being said that they were involved in a custody battle, and she did not want her husband to get the daughter. Candace said I was going to get hers, but he said, "Oh, okay, gotcha, yeah, okay, Candy, gotcha. Be safe driving, Candy." Yeah, because even though she resides in Oklahoma, this crime happened in Florida, so they trying her in Florida. Just like old boy, he live in Canada, but he's being tried in NYC. These people are absolutely wackadoodle. I don't even get it.
To assist the deceased victim.
They take their kids on vacation.
So it shows a dramatic arrest of an.
I didn't mean to do that. They take their kids on vacation to unalive them. Like, this is some weird shit.
Pediatrician charged with carrying.
Hold on, y'all, because I hit the button.
Be able to understand what it meant to open the door to go outside. Show me, Mom, what you believe happened. Draw it for me. Write it for me. Reenact it for me. Tell me exactly what you did when you brought your daughter in.
Oh, hold on. I think it went too far. Hold on, y'all, because I didn't hear that part.
See, services. So we talked all about how 10 minutes, very long time, but also a lot of weird things about that. Nato, we have to talk about this. This idea of the timeline of it, the sliding door. Now, her attorney will later say that, the door was so easy to slide, you could use your pinky. But you're saying, how do we view this? Could it be a parent maybe being negligent, not doing enough to protect the area, not doing enough to secure the door from being open versus murder? I don't know. What do you take away from that description?
Well, one, we don't make any decisions in the coroner world just based off of what someone tells us. Sure. We look at the entire picture. Does it make sense that the little girl could open the door? Had she met all of her cognitive milestones to be able to understand what it meant to open the door to go outside? Show me, Mom, what you believe happened. Draw it for me, write it for me, reenact it for me. Tell me exactly what you did when you brought your daughter in to that bedroom. You said that she woke you up around 9 o'clock. What did you eat? Because when I go to that autopsy and the stomach contents are removed, I want to see what she ate. Does the story make sense?
Let's talk about that, okay? So the warrant goes on to explain what was found at autopsy, which took place 2 days after Aria died, so June 29th. Gupta wasn't held in custody because at this point it seems like this all may have been some sort of tragic accident, but according to the warrant, quote, on Sunday, June 29th, 2025, an autopsy was performed on the deceased victim by Dr. Tuyet Tran of the Miami-Dade County Medical Examiner Department. Dr. Tran advised that the deceased victim's lungs and stomach did not contain water and was considered dry. Dr. Tran also advised that based on these findings, she was able to rule out drowning as being the cause of death. Furthermore, Dr. Tran discovered cuts within the mouth and bruising within the cheeks of the deceased victim's face. Dr. Tran confirmed this type of trauma is not consistent with any life-saving efforts which were performed on the deceased victim by medical personnel. In Dr. Tran's opinion, the deceased victim was deceased prior to being placed into the swimming pool. While the official cause and manner of death remain pending further studies, the doctor's preliminary findings are the injuries are consistent with asphyxiation by smothering. Okay, Nita, talk to me about these findings. I mean, any conceivable way you can have drowning without water in the lungs or the stomach?
Okay, so let's get down to a little bit of science here. So the medical examiner did a great job of explaining some things. So let's dig into it a little bit deeper. Number one, there was nothing in the stomach. That autopsy report also revealed that there was no food in the stomach.
Told y'all, no food in the stomach. So no food in the stomach. No food in the stomach. That little girl probably was deceased. They ain't say it was just this amount of food or this amount of food or the one. But they said no food in the stomach, y'all.
There was also no water in the stomach. The fact that the lungs were not heavy, wet. When we see people who have been submerged in water, like a real drowning victim, in a large body of water like that, we're going to see water in their airway. We're going to see water down into their lungs. We're going to see things that look like a drowning. This did not look like that. There were marks inside of this child's mouth, bruising inside of the mouth. I would imagine that there was probably hemorrhaging as well.
This is what I don't get, Natasha. This is what I was saying. This is what I don't understand about this chick. Listen, this is not a stay-at-home mom. This is not a mama that worked a job somewhere. This is a pediatrician. And I gotta keep saying it. This woman was a pediatrician who thought she was good. This is why I know, I told you, people be mental. They be mental, evil, or just straight up just out of there. Like, you are a pediatrician who thought that you could tell these people that your daughter drowned knowing you had not fed her and there was no water in her stomach or her lungs. I don't know the daughter necessarily fought for her life because no, it ain't no taking no word on no death, baby. There's gonna be an autopsy, and she had to know that. She had to know there was gonna be an autopsy. I don't give a damn. Now, as far as the daughter fighting for her life, she smothered the baby, right? She smothered the baby. So, and from what they say she had going on in her mouth, as far as the cuts and bruises in her mouth, the baby could have been awake and was fighting. Well, she if she wasn't awake when a woman started, she woke up doing the act because she bit her insides of her mouth and had cuts and stuff in it. So if she was asleep when the mama smothered her, she woke up in the process and couldn't breathe and whatever. She was 4. Keep it cute. She was 4. Okay.
Because if you're trying to hold a child down and you put your hand over a child's mouth or even an adult's mouth, there's going to be some sort of bruising that happens with that. And you have to think an adult, even if it's a woman, is still going to be able to overtake that child. And so all of the bruising and the bleeding in the mouth is because she was trying to fight against whatever was being placed on top of her. But if I use a soft thing like a pillow or something like that, I'll still have that bruising and that hemorrhaging, but I may not see a handprint. And so the evidence on this child shows that she died a traumatic death, and that's not an accident. That did not come from resuscitative efforts. When we look at resuscitative injuries in children, we look for broken ribs, especially near the sternal area of the chest. We look for maybe a little bit of bruising around the lips.
Now, Candy, I wish you hit links, which I know you didn't, because I would love to interview you because you knew this lady in real life. Like, and I know you probably gonna get up here and say, "Truth, I would have never thought." I wouldn't have never, cause see, I'm thinking about my children's pediatrician that took care of them up until they became adults, and I'm thinking about my grandbaby's pediatrician who I know because I take them to appointments and things of that nature. And I couldn't imagine one of them ladies hurting their own child. So it probably wouldn't even make no sense for me to bring you up and say, Candy, did you ever think that this woman would do something like to her own child? This woman took care of other people's kids. And she was able to do this to her own daughter. I can't.
Sometimes we can see where they've tried to put a tube in and there may be a little bit of trauma there, but you're not seeing that in the cheek area. And so that is the second biggest red flag for me. The third being that there was nothing in her stomach. When I talk about that coroner's investigation and that death investigation, where's the food that you all ate?
Because here's the thing. Gupta, right? Didn't she say that they had dinner at 9 p.m.? That contradiction.
She did. So what did you eat? You're in a rental. Did you buy food? Did you go to the grocery store? Where are the receipts? Did you order food? Where's the receipt for the food that you ordered? What did your child exactly eat? And a lot of times when we're questioning subjects, they usually forget those little details because most people are not good criminals. And I can't imagine that this woman has done something like this before. I don't know why she, supposedly did this, but most people are going to trip up when you start asking them those simple questions. Where is the food? That's a very simple question. Why is there no food in her belly?
Is there any way? I mean, of course, I'm sure the answer is yes. Of course, you can ask somebody. But realistically, is there any other way another expert could come in? We always talk about it, a trial battle of the experts. Another expert can come in and say, disagree completely. This doesn't mean that the child didn't drown, that this wasn't an accident. Because the way that you're describing it and the way that Dr. Tran described it, it seems straightforward that there wasn't a drowning. But is there another expert who can come in and disagree, and why and how?
I don't see how another person could come in and look at the same circumstances in totality and say, oh, no, this is just a tragic accident. You can't explain away those bruises and the cuts in the mouth. You can't explain away the fact that she didn't have any food in her gastric contents. You can't explain away that she didn't have any water in her lungs or in her airway or down where you would expect it to see for someone who's experienced a drowning, especially in a large body of water. So I don't know what they could come in and try to say. I think this is pretty clear. Unless mom has some other explanation for this that actually makes sense, I don't see how another person could come in and say that. I think it's going to be a matter of whether or not her mental state was where it was supposed to be be in the care of this child. I think they're going to have to go down that route. I don't understand how in the legal province they could look at this same set of evidence and say something different. I don't.
It wasn't in the arrest warrant affidavit, but could the medical examiner, could a coroner be able to determine what time Aria died? Either refute or corroborate Gupta's story?
Well, one, we have video footage, which is always very helpful. And so I'm not sure if there's video footage over the pool. I didn't see that in any of the research that I did before coming on today, but the timeline of what she's saying. What did the skin look like on the baby? Because this was a baby. This was a little kid who experienced a traumatic death. What did her skin look like? Was it pruned? Was it starting to slip? How long had this little girl been in the pool? You can look at water damage. Now, an exact time is still something that I don't care where you go in the world. Postmortem intervals and time of death is still not an exact science, but they could look at the water damage to her body to see how long she had possibly been submerged.
How common, if we take these allegations as true, how common are stagings of deaths?
Oh, very common. This is why death investigations matter. This is why you can't just take someone.
So Candace say, no, I never thought she would do this, and I wouldn't think any mom would or could do that to their own flesh and blood. My kids only saw her twice a year, but she was a sweet lady. Never thought this. See?
Story. According to Gupta, she fed her daughter. They went back to sleep. Everything was fine. But again, the story isn't matching up. And I know I keep harping on this food thing, but it speaks to a pattern of lies at this point. So if you're willing to lie about the fact that you fed your daughter, but you didn't actually feed her, what else are you lying about?
Absolutely.
If you're willing to say that it took you 10 minutes to call 911 services as a physician, a board certified licensed physician, you don't know to call 911. Even when you call the doctor's office, they tell you if this is a life-threatening emergency, call 911.
Come on.
I don't know why she wouldn't have called 911 earlier, but it's because she was trying to figure out her story.
That could very well be, and that could very well be what the prosecution says. The defense would probably argue, hey, listen, she was panicked. We'll tell you how she was trying to get her daughter out of there. I'm sure there's going to be an alternative explanation, but I will tell you this. According to a charging document that was filed with the courts in Oklahoma, Florida authorities, they plan to charge Gupta with first-degree murder because she allegedly killed a human being during the commission of a crime. In this case, aggravated child abuse. So the judge ordered that Gupta's arrest and extradition the following Monday, June 30th, saying, to all and singular sheriffs of the state of Florida, greetings. You are hereby commanded to immediately arrest the defendant and bring him or her before me, a judge in the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida, to be dealt with according to law. Now, according to a news release from the U.S. Marshals Service, the U.S. Marshals Oklahoma City Metro Fugitive Task Force, and Oklahoma City Police.
When we're done with this, which we got 11 more minutes. I wish I could speed it up, but something's going on with my device where it won't speed it up. 11 more minutes on this, and then I'm going to show one more thing. And I know I said I was going to introduce the case for tomorrow, but we'll do all that tomorrow because I don't want this to go too much over 3 hours. So, I'll do what I'm gonna do with the case that we're gonna cover the trial on tomorrow. But listen, after this, I'm gonna play, and hopefully, because the video is only a minute and 52 seconds. I'm gonna play when the U.S. Marshals arrested her. I have the footage of when they went into her home to arrest her. And then we're gonna end on that note. But let's listen.
They arrested Gupta in Oklahoma City on July 1st. Gallesis Saralta, U.S. Marshal for the Southern District of Florida, said in a statement Wednesday, July 2nd, this individual is accused of committing a horrendous act, and her swift arrest illustrates the professionalism, communication, and teamwork of all agencies involved. And according to Oklahoma court records that we viewed, a waiver for extradition was filed July 3rd. Now, in an interview with Florida's My Journal Courier, one of the lawyers representing Gupta, Richard Cooper, called the murder charges against Gupta absurd, quote, absurd. Cooper told the outlet that he himself went to the Airbnb, tried to open the latch on the sliding glass door, said he was able to do it with just his pinky finger. Again, goes to the idea of should it be properly secured? How easy was it for the girl to get out? But Cooper also told the outlet that he planned to have a second independent autopsy done on Aria's body. And Nita and I talked about, we're redoing an autopsy, having a second autopsy. I mean, you don't think, Nita, that there's going to be anything necessarily different per se, unless I will tell you this much. In a statement that was released to several media outlets, Cooper said, "We're disappointed that the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office succumbed to pressure and rushed to judgment. As a result, a grieving mother who just lost her daughter is in jail. We look forward to a full investigation which will uncover the truth of the matter." And in a separate statement to the Miami Herald, Cooper said, Dr. Gupta fully cooperated with law enforcement and gave multiple statements that never wavered in consistency. Rather than conduct a thorough investigation, which could require multiple autopsies and toxicology analyses, the MDSO decided to apply for a warrant for a grieving mother going through the unimaginable. We look forward to all the facts coming to light. So, Nada, I mean, could a second autopsy say something different? Could a toxicology report potentially reveal something? Was it a mistake not to have multiple autopsies? Is that common? You think there's anything to this statement?
Well, I certainly think that if I was being accused of murdering my child, that I would want to have an independent autopsy done. I think that's just part of the due process for someone who's being charged, with first-degree murder. A second autopsy is certainly warranted here. Yes, you can notice different things on the body, different sets of eyes looking at things, but the facts remain correct. And again, knowing the full story and understanding everything about this investigation is going to be key. And so I don't think they're going to necessarily find anything new. I did think it was a bit fast for them to release the autopsy results. Even in the work that I do, we have child fatality reviews. This is a federal mandate that has to happen in each state. So I'm not sure why they were so rushed to put the information out there for public consumption, because I certainly would want to wait until the toxicology report came back. What if there was medication in her system? What if there's poison in her system? What if she had been drugged? We don't know all of the details just yet. But in reading the parts of the story that we do have access to, there were lots of red flags for me as a coroner. Number one, the timeline for when she said these events happened, the autopsy report that was released to the media, those things are red flags for me because they don't line up with what mom is saying. And so, grieving mother, all the things, sure, but some things still don't add up. You, Mom Gupta, you're going to have to explain to me how your daughter ended up with these injuries in her mouth. They did not come from resuscitative efforts. It only takes 2-3 seconds for an EKG machine to be hooked up to a person they place the leads on. We know that this child was probably in asystole when they got to her. She was dead on arrival. They only transported her just to try, because typically they will transport children if they can. But I think everybody who got to that scene knew that little girl had been dead. And for 10 minutes, submerged underwater, there was no way that this baby had a chance of surviving. So, independent autopsy, sure. What does the toxicology say? Sure. Can they look at histology samples and look to see if there's any sort of inflammation in the lung? Did this little girl have any breathing issues or something like that may have happened? Sure. But I don't think that independent autopsy is going to tell us something different than what we know.
Such a sad case. Nada Rutherford, thank you so much for taking the time speaking with us about this. I really appreciate your expertise.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, there's one more layer to this case that I got to touch upon too. Why? Because apparently there is another attorney who finds the investigation against Gupta dubious, and that is one of her defense attorneys in Oklahoma, Chris Smith, who said the allegations, quote, don't track with what he knows about her. He told the Miami Herald, Neha Gupta is a caring and attentive mother, fully dedicated to her child. The idea that she could have harmed her child is completely inconsistent with her character and the life she has led. This is a grieving mother facing unimaginable loss, not a criminal. We are confident the truth will emerge, and when it does, it will show that Neha Gupta is innocent. And when I say divorce attorney, that is important because it's being reported that while authorities haven't released a motive, nor is it clear why she and her daughter went to Florida, as we were looking into Gupta and these allegations, we have to talk about the divorce aspect, okay? We dug through dozens of court documents that were filed in divorce court in Oklahoma, and I'll say this was a very contentious...
Let me tell y'all something about what the ex-husband said in the divorce proceeding. Well, I'm not going to necessarily say in the divorce proceedings, but in the custody proceedings. He said that she needed help. This is what the ex-husband told the courts. The mama needed help, mental. Let's listen.
That went on for years. We found out that her ex-husband, Dr. Talathi, filed for divorce in 2022, so only, about a year after Aria was born, and the court didn't officially recognize the divorce until 2024. And as I mentioned before, Talathi didn't know that Aria and Gupta had gone to Florida. According to the arrest warrant, Dr. Talathi did not travel with the subject and the deceased victim to Miami, Florida, and was unaware that the deceased victim had left the state of Oklahoma. According to Dr. Talathi, there is an ongoing custody battle within the state of Oklahoma over the victim's care between himself and the subject. Now, court documents that were filed with the court just before Aria died describe the custody battle over the little girl as, quote, a highly contentious and procedurally complex litigation spanning over 2 years, marked by aggressive tactics, repeated motions for extraordinary relief, and protracted proceedings. And the dozens of filings involved in the case include arguments over primary custody, who would have had the child when, child care for Aria, including what daycare she can attend, what rights each parent has when it comes to Aria's medical care. So according to the Oklahoman and Miami Herald, Gupta had accused her ex of domestic abuse. However, the court disagreed about that conclusion, apparently citing a lack of evidence, and the couple was assigned a parenting coordinator, and even Aria was granted a guardian ad litem. This is a person to support her best interest in these court proceedings. And in April of this year, a, quote, report of the parenting coordinator and notice of concern of parental behavior was filed. The document detailed how a decision as small as where Aria would attend gymnastics classes was blown out of proportion into a serious issue, so much so that the parenting coordinator had to intervene and help mediate. According to court documents, early on in the divorce proceedings in 2023, a psychological evaluation was ordered for both parents. However, it seems those evaluations were never done. Paperwork filed on April 10, 2025 reads, respondent, meaning Gupta, has again put her mental state in question, and therefore it is in the best interest of the minor child that this court enforce the order of May 31st, 2023, and requests respondent to undergo a psychological evaluation.
So they had ordered, the courts had ordered her to have a psych eval. I don't know if she ever had it. I think he's saying that it never happened, but this is the thing. I don't give a damn. Like, when you have two parents that can't even agree, two parents that, and listen, we're not going to forget about the fact that they separated or divorced a year or so after this baby was born, which meant they should have, for one, probably never been married, and for two, definitely shouldn't have had a child together. But when you got two parents, because see, this is where I get a little irritated and agitated with grown adult people. Hold on a minute, y'all. Hold on. All right, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm back. That was my daughter checking to see if my grandbabies got here yet. They ain't got here yet. They'll be here in a minute. Y'all know they went to school. This the first day of school, honey. I've been keeping myself busy, so I wouldn't think about it. I told y'all I wasn't gonna act out, okay? But I don't even remember what I was saying. Let's continue, Lisa. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Gupta's attorneys filed a response basically saying if she has to get one, so does Dr. Talati, her ex. It's unclear, again, if either of those evaluations ever took place. But then in May, the court granted an emergency order first requested in March, which granted temporary sole...
Oh, I know what I was saying. How irritated I am at the fact that parents, grown adults, that laid down and made a child together can't put their own emotions and disdain for each other aside. Handle that for me, baby, if you can. Can't put their own emotions to the side when it comes to the best interest of their child, right? My alarm chirping. Maybe that's them. Oh no, hold on. So these people couldn't even agree on what they say. They couldn't agree on nothing when it came to the baby, and you can best believe that all this that they were going through in this whole, even with the divorce and with the custody battle, it's the being selfish for me, y'all. I think when parents can't set aside their differences and their emotions and all that when it comes to raising a child, whether you divorced or not, I think that's selfish. I think it's being really, really selfish. And, you're not considering the child's feelings, the child's emotions, the child's best interest. All you thinking about is the fact that you so-called hate your ex-spouse and you want to do anything in your power to hurt your ex-spouse. You using the child. Basically what it boils down to me, honestly, is that you're using the child. You're using the child as a pawn, using the child. And I think that's so selfish. And I think that parents that need to go through the course in order for the course to tell them how to raise their child, when to do this and how to do that. And when, I think that's child. And I think, you know, they just don't deserve to be parents. But hey, it's ridiculous to me. Anywho, let's continue to listen to this because I gotta get off here in a minute.
Custody of Aria to her father, Dr. Talafi. The order reads, the court finds that an emergency exists and that the respondent will continue to interfere with medical treatment of the minor child. And there had also been a lot of arguments over attorney's fees in the divorce case. Paperwork indicates that Gupta had requested around $4,500 from her ex-husband to cover the cost. Talafi said that Gupta owed him more than $100,000. So a judge ended up tossing out Gupta's request, reduced the amount that Talafi had asked for to around $79,000. In June of 2025, Gupta's attorneys filed an appeal with the Oklahoma Supreme Court saying that the court erred by denying her request that Talafi pay attorney's fees. And then you have this garnishment affidavit that was actually filed July 1st by Dr. Talafi's attorney, days after Aria's death, which lays out what Gupta owes him. Almost, again, $80,000. Attorney's fees, court costs, judgment.
See, even after the child passes away, even after this woman undid this to this child, he's still fighting over money. What the fuck does this money have to do? Like, at this point, like, for real. Like, your baby gone. And I understand that probably triggered you even more and makes you hate this woman even more. But what the fuck? So now you go for the money because you know she locked up. She finna be locked up. Like, you can't even let the shit go. Two days after your baby died? Come on, bro. Like, this is just ridiculous.
In principal interest. But there's also a serious snag in whether Talafi will actually see any of that money. It turns out Gupta was fired from her position at OU Health before.
Oh, that's another thing we had to tell y'all. Huh. Damn. How could I forget that? So, she was, I don't know if Candy know this or not, but she was a pediatrician at the doctor's office where she was a pediatrician at. But I think they left to be on that vacation like July in June, the end of June. But she had been, when they took that vacation to Florida, her and her daughter, she had recently been fired from her job. Yeah. She had recently, when they took that vacation, she had just been fired from her job. So I'm thinking that maybe this woman, like somebody put in the chat earlier, premeditated this shit. Hold on, y'all. I gotta go check and see if that's my grandbabies. I'll be right back. All right, y'all, I'm back. I gotta get off here in a minute. My babies are here, and I gotta hear about their day. She was fired on May 30th, I believe. My cousin is the one who informed me that it was a custody dispute. Okay, yeah, yeah, y'all. She had lost her job. She had lost her job and everything. So I don't know. It's a lot to this. Let's listen. It's only about a minute left. Let's listen.
Or her daughter's death. This is a level 1 trauma center that's affiliated with the University of Oklahoma, by the way. OU Health. Dr. Neha Gupta was suspended from patient care, given notice of termination, and was no longer seeing patients at the health system as of May 30th, 2025. She has also been given notice of termination by the university. A more specific reason for her termination wasn't given, but I'll just tell you, look, sad case, strange case. We'll definitely keep a careful eye on it. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
All right, so that's it for that. Now, I want to pull up, and I want y'all to see the visual of this, so I'm going to try. And hopefully, like I say, it's only like a minute and 52 seconds. So I want y'all to see. When they went to arrest her at her home. I don't know why I want to say the fire marshal. The marshal is the one that arrested her because, of course, this case is happening in Florida, but she was at home in Oklahoma when they arrested her. So federal marshals are the ones that arrested her. So let me see. Hold on. She probably was a daddy's girl. But the sad part about it is, keep it cute. I think that other baby was a daddy's girl too, and daddy is the one that unalived her. So I don't know. This is just sad. When it comes to these kids, y'all know it's just sad for me. All right, let's see if this gonna play, y'all.
Daughter while vacationing in South Florida and then tried to cover it up. Local 10's Terrell Tournay live now in West Miami-Dade with much more. Terrell.
And this mom accused of murder initially did not give herself up. Instead, on this video, you'll see that she...
They gotta catch up. Hold on, y'all. All right, I just need 2 minutes, y'all. I just need 2 minutes for this video to play, Jesus. I want y'all to see this.
Arrest of an Oklahoma mother. Detectives say she killed her own daughter while vacationing in South Florida and then tried to cover it up. Local 10's Terrell Tournay live now in West Miami-Dade with much more. Terrell.
And this mom accused of murder initially did not give herself up. At the home of a woman accused of drowning her own daughter.
Neha Gupta, come to the front door, do it now!
The tense moments from body cam footage played out earlier this month, July 1st in Oklahoma. And after cops forced their way inside.
Yeah, it's skipping. It's skipping like a move. I'm gonna stop it one more time. It started back. Hold on, y'all.
vacationing in South Florida and then tried to cover it up. Local 10 Surveillance 1A Live now in West Miami.
She did not give herself up. Instead, on this video, you'll see that she apparently forced officers to search for her.
Police with a warrant! Open the door! Do it now!
Those heavily armed officers and U.S. Marshals are at the home of a woman accused of drowning her own daughter.
Neha Gupta, come to the front door! Do it now!
The tense moments from body cam footage played out earlier this month, July 1st, in Oklahoma City, where pediatrician Neha Gupta lived. And after cops forced their way inside, you could see a girl's toy set just off to the side of the seemingly quiet home. It was just a
Come on, because I want y'all to see. She was actually hiding in plain sight. I mean, I don't know what she called herself doing, but hold on. Damn it, man! I hate this. I'm gonna rewind this because I want y'all to see this. Okay, hold on. Now I hate to have to take the time to switch out browsers because I got to get off of here. But I'm gonna try this one more time. We're gonna try this one more time. Oh, wait a minute, because the streaming app probably dropped. No, it did. It just won't show. I'm gonna wait and see. There it is. Y'all see how this thing won't play? All I asked for is 2 minutes. That's it. 2 minutes.
those for her.
Police with a warrant! Open the door! Do it now!
Officers and U.S. Marshals are at the home of a woman accused of drowning her own daughter.
Neha Gupta, come to the front door! Do it now!
The tense moments from body cam footage played out earlier this month, July 1st in Oklahoma City, where pediatrician Neha Gupta lived. And after cops just a few days before this video, when Gupta was in South Florida, staying at this rental home in El Portal with her 4-year-old daughter Aria. Gupta determined the child before being placed into the water. Carried out the arrest warrant after Gupta returned to her
Hold on, y'all. I knew it was gonna do that. Now maybe it'll play right because it dropped completely. I'm gonna bring it back one more time and try this again. If not, we'll do it tomorrow. This is why StreamYard won't be paid. Period. Give me a second. She gonna wear the hell out of me. All right, y'all. I'm finna try it one more time. Let me go back. Thank you, Miss Marge.
Forced officers to search for her.
Police with a warrant! Open the door! Do it now!
Those heavily armed officers and U.S. Marshals are at the home of the woman.
Do it now!
The tense moments from body cam footage played out earlier this month, July 1st in Oklahoma City, where pediatrician Neha Gupta lived. And after cops forced their way inside, you could see a girl's toy set just off to the side of the seemingly quiet home. It was just a few days before this video when Gupta was in South Florida, staying at this rental home in El Portal.
It's not gonna play. It is not gonna play. Let's see. But when I come back on this, I'll show it. I might put it on my put it as a short on my channel when I get off of here so y'all can see it. Because it won't play.
The 36-year-old didn't
I
say
ain't got all day to
was
wait for it
often
to
taken
play.
away. Eventually
Thank you,
transferred back to
Mama.
Miami-Dade County, face a judge, and to sit in jail on a first-degree murder charge. And tonight, Gupta remains locked up here in this Miami-Dade County jail, held without bond. She has another recorded appearance scheduled for next month.
Okay, I'm gonna end it right there. I'm gonna stop it right there.
Local
I'm gonna put that because I wanted y'all to see when they went in there where she was hiding at, and I don't think y'all caught that because it kept cutting out. But basically, that she was hiding in the laundry room off to the. If you're looking at the screen, it was out to the left. But I'm gonna put it in the short, and I'm gonna put it on this channel. When I get through doing what I'm doing, so y'all look for that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today, y'all. So listen, I'm gonna keep y'all updated on these two cases, the two cases I introduced. But tomorrow I'm going to introduce the case of the mother who allegedly assisted her son in unaliving his baby mama. And like I said, the trial is going on right now. It's day one, and we're going to I'm gonna come on early tomorrow, y'all. I'm gonna come on early, and we're going to listen to the trial. She's being retried and everything. And I'll talk about it more tomorrow when we come back. But for right now, that's it for today. Thank y'all so much for joining. I will keep y'all updated on these two because, like I said, these are recent cases. This stuff just happened. So with that being said, I'm gonna get off here, y'all. I do have to handle some stuff before I go live over there on the T channel. So listen, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Have a blessed, beautiful rest of your day. I'll see y'all later. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Lady Marie. Thank y'all so much for supporting this channel. I really do appreciate it. All right. And yeah, I see y'all back here tomorrow. And I'm gonna be live earlier tomorrow so we can get as much in as we can. Okay. Thank you for joining, Queen. I appreciate it. Until next time, y'all listen. Y'all be safe, be blessed, never stress. And until next time. Truth seekers. I almost said truth seekers. Truth seekers. Stand up and we out. Y'all be good. I'll see y'all later.